Daring duck of mystery, champion of right, swoops out of the shadows, Darkwing's owns the night. Somewhere some villain schemes, but his number's up. 3, 2, 1. Cosmere Chronicles! The podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, and we chronicle their journey through Brand Sanders's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling the Stormlight Archive, Words of Radiance, Interlude 5 through Chapter 38. So now, let's throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe! Thank you, Joe. Yep, everyone, as you heard, it's Cosmere Chronicles. As normal, my name's Joe, and I am joined once again by Justin and Sheta.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Yep, feel the excitement in the air. We will start things off with the random questions, and I figure let's go with the one that should be a shorter and easier one. I've been reading a lot of Star Wars books right now, so we'll just go with the question. If you got a lightsaber, what color would you want for your lightsaber?
I'd want a teal colored one. So not quite blue and not quite green. I think that would be cool.
So like Tenel Ka has.
Yes, exactly.
I think they describe hers as turquoise, but yeah.
I'm going purple. I'm gonna represent like my man Windu. I'd want to go red, but I don't want the connotations that go with red, so I'm choosing purple.
The old EU, before episode 1 stuff came out and that really established red was evil, you had normal characters had red. Leia had a red lightsaber.
I ain't doing that shit. That's like being like, oh, technically the swastika is an ancient Buddhist symbol. I don't want any of that shit. I'm not doing any of those weird connotations. I'm just going with purple. That's firmly established as an acceptable Jedi color.
I thought you liked yellow.
No, not anymore.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'm also going to go purple as well, because a lot of characters that I like, Mara Jade when she was the Emperor's Hand, Jaina Solo, Anakin Solo, Mace Windu, they all had purple.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
And yeah, reading through these books, Anakin Solo and Jaina Solo have certainly shot up in my favorite Star Wars characters.
Well, you make a good distinction, Joe. I do need to say, I'm only picking purple if I'm within the movie canon where it's a rare color. If it's a common one a lot of people have, I may have to rethink. How dare you call this an easy question? This is one of the hardest questions I've ever had to answer. There's so many factors to take into account.
Oh, okay. So if you go into wider continuity and include all the colors, then what would you?
And then I'd go green like my man Luke.
And Jason Solo had green.
Yeah, but I'm living in the original trilogy time period. That's when I got my lightsaber. I trained with Luke Skywalker. That's my fan fiction.
He's my master.
Yeah, he was my first master.
I know. I was just having to try to throw out names of book characters and their color lightsabers just to show how much I knew. Corran Horn, another purple lightsaber. Well, his was both purple and silver. It changed.
You know what? You're right. I'm dual wielding purple and blue. Final answer.
I want 4 lightsabers, just like Grievous had.
You don't have 4 hands.
I'll just wear 2 more hands.
It is Star Wars, so I can't argue with the possibility of adding on prosthetic hands for no reason.
And Justin will also go with blue, like Tahiri.
I don't know who Tahiri is, so that one I cannot follow.
You didn't say anything when I said Tenel Ka earlier?
Just ignored you.
Justin, remember those Junior Jedi Knights covers with like little Anakin and like the blonde-haired girl with like those big spiders? Get that shit out of here.
I don't want no Junior Jedi novels.
Except I'm in the new Jedi Order now, so all these little kid books, now I get to see those characters older and going through some shit. It's scarring now to see these people go through very serious things and being like, I remember when you were a child in this innocent little kid's book. All right. So yeah, there's our lightsaber colors for everyone out there. Tell us what color lightsaber you would pick. And then I might mention what EU character had that color, if I know it.
Only if it's off the top of your head. Otherwise, you're cheating.
Well, yeah.
Feels like always off the top of my head.
There are other ones I can get. I knew Zex, I knew Lobaka's, Tion, but other characters I could not tell you what their lightsaber colors are. All right. But yeah, there we go. Now let's get back to Brandon Sanderson. But by first, doing a recap of last week's chapters, which is Sheta's turn to do the recap.
Uh-oh. It's 29 through 34 was last week. And Gaz is being cute, and he wanted a picture drawn of him by Shallan. And they continue traveling. Tin is kind of trying to help Shallan be a con artist. And sorry, my notes aren't good. Then it just says Shin attack, or not Shin, Zeph attacks. And he attacks the guys at a random point, and they get their asses kicked. Kaladin loses an arm, but he grows it back.
Kaladin did not. His arm died.
Oh, yeah.
He did not have to grow it back. He got slashed with a shard blade.
Okay.
He's not Piccolo.
I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't remember that in the book. Yeah, no, it doesn't actually come off. But he grows the spirit of his arm back with his powers. Adolin gets trapped on a wall. They learn that Zeph is not after the king, but actually after Dalinar. And poor, what's his name from the group, Bridge 4 dies.
Beld.
Yeah, poor Beld. Luckily, though, our other friend doesn't die. He just loses both of his legs, or doesn't lose them, gets them spiritually disattached. And then Kaladin and Zeph kind of have a conversation, and he tells Zeph that he is a windrunner, and Zeph kind of freaks out that he's been lied to, and then he just runs off. So they're all okay, and then what happens after that?
A pretty important scene with Shallan and Tin.
Yes. Tin and they're and Shallan are getting close to the war camp, and they're kind of making plans about what they're gonna do. But Tin gets a span read revealing that she was the one who was hired to kill Yasna, and she learns that Shallan was with Yasna, and basically finds out that Shallan is who she says she's pretending to be, and they have a fight, which Shallan badassingly kills Tin with her secret shard blade, and kind of gets a weird dark confidence in her. And all of Tin's men get killed, and now Shallan's in charge of Vatha's men, and they're kind of in awe of her, and and now Shallan is going to meet up with the cult that hired Tin. So
Ghost
she's got
Bloods.
Ghost Bloods.
All right. Yeah, I think that was adequate.
Yeah.
Yep. So then, this week we read the interludes. So we had 4 interludes we read, and then we started part 3 by reading chapters 35 through 38. So, as normal, what do you guys think of these chapters this week?
Really exciting for me.
Thoroughly enjoyed them.
A lot of long-awaited meetups.
Meetups you were sure was never going to happen.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Yep. So then let's just get right into the chapters. Starting off with the first interlude, which was another Eshonai one, and interlude 5, the Rider of Storms. Eshonai is talking with Thude, one of her companions, and he was the one who had gone to the Alethi and set up the meeting, which is going to take place in 7 days on a neutral plateau. Eshonai had wanted to send him as a messenger earlier, but the ruling group, the 5, they had spent too long deliberating and complaining. And, the high storm's about to hit, and Thude wishes Eshonai luck as she heads out onto the plateaus, in order to take on Stormform.
Everything about this made me so mad. Because I'm like, First off, the ruling council took too long. That's what fucking happens when you let every echelon of society get a say with all those different forms. They're obviously going to disagree and wring their hands forever. This is why you don't let the frickin' prostitutes
Whoa.
and for the love form ones. And I'm trying to think of one of the other forms.
Oh.
And they don't have
Nimble
artists.
form. Yeah.
No,
You
they
don't
have
let everyone in on decision making because they're not all interested in decision making. Some of them seem to not really even care that much, you know.
Right.
So that already bothered me. But the second part was I was so annoyed. Like, I know we knew this before, but she's going to go do this meeting. She's going to try to talk for peace while also experimenting with God knows fucking what's going to happen when she goes out into that storm to get another form, you know? I was just like, this is not the time. What are you doing? And I think it's really funny that it implies that things are going to go exactly as poorly as I imagined they're going to go from this, just like 2 pages later when I was thinking this. So I feel I think I'm going to be vindicated in those feelings against this kind of being so reckless with taking on different forms like this.
the fives. In the last set of interludes, their whole thing was they picked Eshonai instead of Venli because they're like, well, if Eshonai can see that something's wrong, she'll be able to stop it.
Well, sounds like a dumb fucking one. Don't do it now. Do it after peace. 2, don't send the person that you're going to be entreating with to do some experimental shit just on the off chance that she'll be able to tell something's wrong. Who even knows? And that's the thing. If they went out there thinking, there's not going to be any problem, then I wouldn't think this. It's specifically because they're worried that there might be a problem that I'm like, well, then what are you people doing? I just think that they're too reckless with their own safety of their own people in their own future for me to feel a lot of sympathy for them. That's all.
They seem so out of it for me. Like it just seems run so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not even all there, and they're not even all like consistent. Like since their values and things seem to change with whatever form they take. So like I don't even know
Yeah,
who
that's true.
exactly in
Are your
charge. You know,
beliefs?
like
We don't know. I'm sure we'll see more because we haven't really seen like how that go. Yeah, we. What am I trying to say? We haven't really seen what it's like to go from one form to another yet. But you're absolutely right on. Are their values even their values? Are these long sought values that are thought after and really considered like a human's values are? Or are they just based on the form? I like that a lot. You've made me have even another thing to dislike about them, Sheta.
because like I don't know who to even trust after this
Mm-hmm.
incident happens. You know,
That's true
because
too. Yeah.
I don't know. Like it just seems like so unsure about like what they're even trying to achieve if it's just seems like a random mixed bag of people in charge because of
Mm-hmm.
how it's set up, you know.
And what bothers me is it's not like they're incompetent because, when we hear Dalinar talk about it a bit, it seems like their military strategy is pretty fine when they want it to be, like they're not stupid. It's just if I'm in a culture or a species, whatever they are, that takes on different forms like this, I would really want to touch upon that those forms should only exist for the purpose they exist for. I don't know. I know they've lost a lot to time, so that does hurt them quite a bit. They do seem like kind of a lost people, right? You get
Yes.
that sense too. So maybe that'll get explored later. But I just think they claim they're dealing with these forces that are like end of the world stuff, and I just don't think they're taking it seriously enough. I think that's my final verdict on it, and it really drives me nuts.
It seemed like Eshonai was the only one who kind of knew the score, and then now we
Mm-hmm.
have lost her. So
Yeah.
it's just now who is in charge? You know, she's
Mm-hmm.
basically the leader, and now there's no.
I think this thing is going to be in charge, but we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of it too is I think because going through the last set of interludes, when you had Esh and I talking with some of her friends and stuff, they were some of them it's like they didn't believe in like the gods or they weren't as bad as they were. It's like, yeah, it's power from the gods, who cares, we'll take it. And Esh and I was like, no, you should worry about that. But the others
Mm-hmm.
just didn't worry
See,
because
they
it's been
trust too much in these
so
gods.
long.
They trust too much. They trust in their gods. They trust in their way. They never consider that they might be the bad guys. I think that's what I don't like.
Well, they don't trust in their gods. They trust it to stay away from their gods. They're afraid of their
They're
gods.
godless, which might be worse.
I don't know. In a fantasy world, it's hard to say.
And Eshonai, when she goes out there, she takes a shield with her as she prepares to face the high storm. The song said that those who are seeking new forms are protected, but Eshonai wasn't sure if this was true or just fancy.
Another thing, they only
Demet,
have the one scientist to explore this stuff. Like nobody's that interested in like exploring. Is that true or is that just some fanciful myth?
well,
I
no,
can't
they have a
trust them.
group.
Hmm?
Venli is her sister, and she's leading like a group of them searching for the new form.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying this idea that, we'll be protected, but nobody's sure what's true and what's false. You can explore this stuff more, is what I'm saying.
Being out here felt like she was facing the Rider of Storms head on. He is the soul of the storm and the one that the humans call the Stormfather. The songs named him a traitor, a spren who chose to protect humans instead of the listeners. And Eshonai, she places the shield against the ground and uses it to brace herself against the storm. During the storm, all the rhythms aligned and they just became the same. During this time, no matter what she attuned, she heard the same rhythm. And the storm vanishes around her, and so it's all calm, kind of like what we've seen with like when this happened to Kaladin. And she looks up and she saw the Rider of Storms. Eshonai imagines power coursing through her as she threw the gemstone, holding the spren against the ground, smashing it. The Stormfather asks if this is what she wants. He had never spoken to her before. And Eshonai now notices that the released spren is an anger spren, and she thinks that this is wrong. Stormfather says that he supposes this must be. It was going to happen. Eshonai says no, and she tries to step away and stop the preparations, but the spren hits her in the chest, and like red tendrils start coming out. Stormfather says that he cannot stop this, and he is sorry. And Eshonai's body begins to change. And that's the end of the chapter.
That I thought it was so funny when that went about as bad as I was worried it was going to for her. Like you said, Sheta, pretty much one of the only sensible ones we have is turned into some kind of weird red tendril monster thing of like gets Red Lantern powers, it seems like.
Anything else from this interlude you two want to go over?
I liked getting to get more of a sense of what this thing is from the Parshendi example or perspective, the Stormfather thing. And I have to say, it's funny to me with all my anti-Parshendi stuff I can't help but keep having when she says he was seen as a traitor because he chose to protect humanity over them. My only thought was, okay, so I can trust this thing. He sounds like a good guy.
And one thing that I think of is, our last set of chapters, you had like Syl freaking out, Pattern freaking out during the high storm. With them, especially with Pattern, I don't think he was freaking out because of Szeth. Because to me, it doesn't make sense for him to freak out because Szeth's showing up. I think he's freaking out because this was happening at that same time.
It's a good point. And why didn't you say it?
I forgot. But it was just a coincidence, I thought.
I did not think of that, so I find that very fun.
Yeah. Because they were going through different things at the time.
Yeah, and I think like Syl says something has changed, and yeah. All right. So I'll just say this chapter was called The Rider of Storms. Pretty obvious why that was chosen, so we'll just go on. All right.
We finally got on, Sheta.
Well, I'll still leave it for some where I think there could be like multiple reasons why a name could be chosen, but something like that, it's like you really can't go into other reasons why. All right, but we'll go on to Interlude 6, Zahel. So Zahel's laying in his bed.
I was so excited to see some Zahel.
You were?
Yeah, I love him.
You were just waiting to see Zahel return?
Zahel's return.
Mm-hmm.
So Zahel was in bed, and then he senses someone coming near the door before they knock on it. And he complains in his head as he opens the door, and he finds Kaladin standing there. So Kaladin says that there was just an attempt on the king's life, and he asks Zahel if his offer to teach him how to fight a Sharblade is still good. Zahel says no, and slams the door. But then Kaladin just opens the door, since the Arden's doors don't have locks. And Zahel is just annoyed and tells him, you know what? there are two people that live here. At night, it's just a really grouchy man that doesn't want to have to deal with anybody. During the day, there might be a slightly less grouchy man who would agree to, help like people like you. So yeah, and he tells Kaladin, "Yep, I'll teach you." Now he tells him not to be green from the ground, and that just confuses Kaladin. And Zahel just thinks that, yeah, this stupid language has no proper metaphors. And after Kaladin leaves, Zahel gets back into his bed. He expected to hear a voice speak in his mind, but of course there wasn't one. There hadn't been one in years.
This was the weirdest fucking chapter of the whole book. Because not only is he annoyed that, oh, they don't have locks, he thinks of it as like, oh, these goddamn Ardents don't have locks. That's so stupid. As in, I am not an Ardent. These Ardents that I am being don't have locks. That's a weird, stupid thing they have. I found that to be so fascinating. Did you agree, Sheta? How he worded
It's
that?
weird because last week I was already saying how he's not from here, and so for me, I thought of him that way already. So it just made sense for him to think like that. But yeah, that
And
does
then
just add to that.
And then there's another line that was so weird. Did you notice it, Shada? You wouldn't because the audiobook doesn't capitalize words, but did you?
No, just going.
It's when he's talking about the storm and he's saying it's so filled with, oh god, what's the word?
Invested.
Investor. Yeah, it's invested with energy or something, and that it's invested that it just wants to get out, with the word invested being capitalized. Did they say that weird in your book at all?
No, I don't. It didn't stick out to me.
Yeah, that was weird because that means he's like, I'm now trying to. I just grabbed my book. I'm trying to find the line again. Oh yeah, yeah. The way he says it here is so strange. Where he's like, the air was wet. Oh right, one of those storms had come, which does not sound like something that somebody from around here would say because they would be very common, you know. Invested to the hilt and looking for a place to stick it all, cursed things. That wording with the capital invested, I found so strange and I found so strange and fascinating how he said it because he just doesn't sound like it implies that he, with the capitalization specifically, that he knows more about what this is and what's in it and what it gives off than other people seem to even think about it. Because most people just seem to be like, oh, it's those storms. They fill up our gems when we leave them out, but they don't really think about it as like anything specific, you know. So I found that very fun and interesting. And
Wow.
I don't know that I'm as convinced as you are that he's from another alien planet or whatever stuff you have, but it does make it very interesting to think, what is his purpose here? What is he doing? And why is he so ingrained in here to the point where everyone just seems to be so casual about him just being around?
Yeah, like what do they know about him? You know, he keeps saying he's super old, but like, has he seems to also have been a part of, like, he trained Adolin, like, so like a part of this history for at least the last like 10, maybe 20 years, you know?
Yeah, he hasn't just been around here for a week, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So definitely. Everyone here just calls it the high storms. Like it's as normal as any kind of weather and stuff, you know?
Yeah, they'd think, oh, there's a high storm tonight. Okay. Not, oh, it's one of those blasted storms, you know?
Yeah, that's freaky.
It's
That's
weird.
very freaky.
And then the invested being capitalized, as we've seen before, like it seems like I'm supposed to be watching for random capitalizations.
Yeah. I have to listen to that again and see how they do it.
Yeah, then they rub in the metaphor thing again, making sure that we're aware of it. So this was my favorite chapter, just for those two little things. I really enjoyed that.
There's also the other weird things, like him thinking he should hear a voice.
Yeah, I mean that, of course, but for all I know, that just means he's a crazy guy. I assume that that's something plot or important that matters for what his deal is, and him saying, "Oh, of course, I never do anymore." I was trying to think, Shada, do you remember anything about voices before?
Huh? Voices.
Yeah, like anything where hearing voices is normal.
Mm,
Like I guess it could be as little as just expecting the voice of a spren, but I don't think so.
yeah. Oh, like that. Um, no,
Yeah, I
unless it's like
couldn't think of anything
a
unless it's
sword, maybe.
like he sleeps with Nightblood normally.
Yeah.
Now that would be something, but I don't think so.
But also, well, like Mistborn, duh. With
You think
doing
he's hearing
God's
the
will.
voice of God because he has
Yeah,
metal in him?
yeah.
Oh my God! They finally brought Zane back, Sheta.
This is where he was teleported to.
Yep.
Teleported?
Yeah, yeah. Teleported and stuck here. That's why he's so grouchy.
Yep. You called it, Sheta.
His name is even starts with a Z, just like
Oh my
Zane's.
God. Oh my God, Sheta.
Does Zane really seem like the type that would teach people how to fight with a sword?
Maybe Vin's heroism like touched him, and he's like, you know what? I lost fair and square. Maybe I should not be a bad guy anymore. And so
Vin's
we give.
heroism touched him. I like
Yeah.
it, Sheta.
hmm He's like, she chose my brother because he was heroic. Now he
Mhm.
spends like, who knows, maybe hundreds of years trying to be a good guy, and this is as good as he got. A grumpy old man.
Yeah. I think we put it all together.
I like it. Did I figure it out?
No. If you did, then I'm going to stop reading.
You want me to give you a yes or no on that?
No, Joe, keep it open. Keep it open. Don't dash her poor hopes.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. Let me have it.
You know, Shada, the next book is called Stormlight Archives: The Return of Zane, for what that's worth.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No, it will be The Search for Zane because it's the third one.
Search for Zane.
All right. Anything else from this interlude?
I'm sure this is a fun one to go back and read. I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah.
All right. So now we'll go on to interlude 7, Taln. So this one, it's kind of written in a weird way because we're in Taln's head and he's not really fully there.
I had to read this chapter twice to figure out what the hell I was even reading.
Yeah, but so Taln's in a wagon while the men transporting him are talking to Elhokar and Dalinar. Wit had been with them, transporting or traveling down to the Shattered Plains, but Wit ran away in the middle of the journey. And the men tell them that Taln has just been sitting there in the back of the wagon ranting the entire time. So the king and Dalinar, they try to talk to Taln. And Taln, he begins mumbling, saying that he is Talinel Elin, Herald of War. The time of the return, the desolation is near at hand. And he tells them that they must prepare. Dalinar says that he can make out some of what he is saying. It's kind of a Lethe. And Elhokar asks him where he had gotten his shard blade, because most shard blade lineages are accounted for. Talon tells him that Kalak will teach them how to cast bronze. Vedel can train their surgeons, and Yezrian can teach them leadership. And Dalinar and Elhokar cannot understand most of what he is saying. Elhokar asks again about the shard blade. And he asks one of the men in the wagon how they got the shard blade away from him. And the man tells him, well, he just dropped the shard blade. Elhokar wonders how he could drop it and it didn't just vanish. And also, how did a dark-eyed man get a shard blade? Talon keeps going on, saying that, he will train their soldiers, and that Ishar keeps talking about a way to keep information from being lost between desolations. They can also use the surge binders to act as guardians. The men in the wagon, they say that Talon just keeps mumbling the same thing over and over again. Talon says that the coming days will be difficult, but humanity will survive, and they must bring him to their leaders. The other heralds should show up soon. Dalinar says that, we should bring this man to the Ardents, and maybe they can help his mind recover. Dalinar also says that he can find a good use for this blade. In fact, something occurs to him right now. And Talon, in his mind, he's thinking that, this time he might have come back too late. That's the end of that interlude.
Very exciting. I wonder who he's going to give the blade to.
You can't just steal that blade.
Right.
I
Just
was
because
so
he's
mad.
crazy.
Yeah,
He's just like Amaram.
exactly.
Yeah, so you finally get to see inside the hot mind of a herald, and he is kind of crazy.
Just a little crazy. I think it makes sense that he's a little crazy. Who
The
knows how long
part
he's
with
been with us.
tortures, horrible tortures, but they're good because they let you know you're alive. That I was like, okay, so they are in hell between these things then.
I feel so sad for him. He was left
It's like,
behind.
yeah, he is the one who was left behind, right? Like, I don't know if we know for sure or
Yep.
not. But
Yep, he was.
the idea that
Yeah,
he
he
thinks,
was.
oh, they're all going to return too. I'm like, dude, I don't know, man. Doesn't seem like it.
That sounds like something he's been repeating for the last 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be back soon. They'll come get me.
Yeah.
They wouldn't leave me. Oh, I feel bad for him. So sad. They knew this and they left him anyway.
Well, it also makes it interesting if they're to come during Desolation specifically, and he has all these expectations on how they'll be trained during Desolations. Like, things are going to suck ass. That's all I'm saying with this one.
Mm.
I couldn't help but think of Mass Effect when he was talking about the information lost between Desolations. It really felt like the Harvest the Reapers do to me, where they were just, you don't even remember it happened. Everything is lost between.
Mm. Yeah, I like when books talk about stuff like that, like crazy stuff, where a mind is put through all these limits that, fantasy limits. I think that's really interesting.
Oh, you're talking about the hell thing. Is that it?
Yeah, health thing, or
Okay.
mental torture and stuff like that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
even just being trapped somewhere for a unimaginable amount of years and stuff.
Mhm.
What does that do to a brain? That kind of thing. That's always interesting to me.
I find it too funny that we know that this stuff is real and that this guy is something important, but all these people are just like, who's this fucking crazy man mumbling about fucking nothing?
I feel so bad because, yeah, he doesn't.
They don't take any of it seriously. They're
Yeah,
just like, okay.
I'm
You know?
surprised. What you said, they didn't even question how he got a shard blade. I would be very curious because that's
They did
supposed to be.
question how. They said how,
Yeah,
they did question how he did.
yeah, but more.
But
I
he's
would be
not
like,
attuned to it, so I think they're just like, I don't know, who knows.
okay.
This
I
guy's
guess they're
cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
more interested in just what are they going to do with it instead of who he is, I guess.
The fact that they spent a good chunk of time with this guy talking about Wit hitting himself in the head with a rock shows that they're not really that taking this that seriously.
Mm.
It's not so much that it's not always so that they're ignoring him, as they don't understand most. Because you have Dalinar being like, I think he said bronze in there.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it's just the rumblings of a crazy man. I find too funny.
Crazy man that's probably speaking a dialect from 4,500 years ago.
They understood some of the lines.
So, well, same thing. I think with English, the farthest back you could go in history and still be able to have a meaningful conversation would be about Shakespearean times. If you start going back farther than that, then it becomes very different.
Yeah. Even last week we were talking about old books like Beowulf. It reads really hard and weird, just being a little older.
Older.
Yeah, a little older than Shakespeare,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Beowulf is one where most stuff you read it too. That's going to be translated because that's like old English.
Yeah, it's already weird.
All right. Anything else from this interlude you two want to go over?
No.
Then we'll go on to the interlude number 8, A Form of Power. And this is another Eshonai interlude. So the listeners were waiting for Eshonai when she returned. Eshonai felt powerful. And when she would clench her hand up into a fist, tiny lines of red lightning flared from her hand. Venli pushes to the front of the crowd to see. And Eshonai, she's able to just leap across the chasm without needing a running start now. She tells the listeners that she has returned and brings the future of two peoples. Their time of loss is at hand. Dude comes up to her and he tells Eshonai, your eyes are red. He says that, and he's saying, the songs, they say, but Eshonai just cuts him off to go talk to Venli. And she tells her sister that she can feel a storm coming. A powerful, angry tempest. A high storm. And with enough of them wearing this form, they could bring it and bend the storms to their will and bring it down onto their enemies. And Eshonai holds out her arms and preaches to the crowd. She looked into the Storm Rider's eyes and saw his betrayal. She knows he intends to help the humans against them, but her sister has discovered their salvation. With this form, they can sweep their enemies from the land. And Eshonai gloried in the listener's awe. She pointedly ignored the voice deep within her that was screaming in horror.
See, it's interesting that she ignores the voice that's screaming in horror. It's not the thing she'd turned into, laughed as it screamed in horror. Like, it seems like it is still, in a sense, her.
Yeah, just suppressed and...
Well, it's a different part of you, right? Just like with how all of these forms are. At least that's what it seems to me.
That's scary.
It is. That's why I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Also, it seems to me that a desolation is when one of them does this, and that this has happened before.
Ooh, I like that theory.
Yeah, whatever this unlocks, whatever this brought into her, if it is something possessing her or touching upon her, it's when they get this is when they, like, the Voidbringers are the thing she turned into. That's what I think I'm trying to say. Like, it's not the Parshmen or Parshendi or whatever. Like, they're just another people, but I think that something external hijacks them, kind of hijacks their natural way, and that's what becomes a Voidbringer. That's my current theory.
That's cool.
It's too early for theories.
Justin, I might say Food seemed like another normalish, another pragmatic one, or whatever you want to say.
Well, some of them are. What I'm saying is, when you have your different forms and you let all of those forms have a voice in leadership, that's a problem to me. Because in our current world, we have a leaning more democratic way, but we don't make sure that every group of people has an equal voice in what our society is going to do, because nothing would ever get done, because everyone would just be working towards their own thoughts and self-interest. There's certain people who have a leadership ability and certain people who don't. So also pragmatism is scary too much of it. Like, she scares me too. So I don't know.
I more meant it when you said that it was either you or Sheta said, you guys, that we lost Eshonai and she was the only one, but at least Food's another one.
Food is kind of not a leader, though. He's a little pushover too.
You didn't say she was the only pragmatic one. You said she was the only sensible one, right? Or the only one who was like, kind of guys, we shouldn't do this stuff.
Yep, that was my thing. It's I chose a wrong word with pragmatic.
I see. I'm very curious to see if it is as I think, and it's something trying to hijack them, to see which members are going to try to resist and think this is weird, and which ones are going to be like all gung-ho for it. But I almost wonder if the energy that she has is almost infectious, because it felt to me like it kind of was, because they sing, they don't just speak. So they talk on a very deep emotional level, and I wonder if that makes it easier to whip them up into a blood frenzy. Because songs are very compelling to get you to feel things.
Anything else from this interlude?
Just more scary stuff.
All right, and this one, title of it was A Form of Power, and like the other one, I think it's pretty self-explanatory for this one.
Because they got a form of power?
Yes.
Nice.
All right. Yeah, so now we'll move right into part 3, which is called Deadly. As I said last week, we had our POVs for this part will be Adolin, Navani, Shallan, and Kaladin. So, and before we begin the next part, there was another artwork, which is right here, which it's just artwork of pretty much from Navani's notebook, just of the platform thing we see later in this chapter.
Oh, like the hovering platform?
Yeah.
I didn't think it looked like a barrel floating in the sky.
Well, it said it looked like the top of a siege tower, and it even had like merlins and stuff.
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right. Yep, so we start off chapter 35, The Multiplied Strain of Simultaneous Infusion.
I want you to ask us what that one means at the end, Joe, so we have to bullshit some metaphor beyond just the basics.
So, epigraph. They also, when they had settled their rulings in the nature of each bond's placement, called the name of it the Nahel Bond, with regard to its effect upon the souls of those caught in its grip. In this description, each was related to the bonds that drive Roshar itself, 10 surges, named in turn, and 2 for each order. In this light, it can be seen that each order would by necessity share 1 surge with each of its neighbors.
It's really funny to go from some relatively simple poems to that. It was quite an adjustment to my brain to read that for the epigraphs. It's like you go from Dr. Seuss to Shakespeare, it felt like.
Yep, and this, what we see from this part is the epigraphs are all going to be sections from Words of Radiance.
I can see why Sadeas and Adolin hate the Words of Radiance so much if it reads like that.
You're thinking Way of Kings.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right.
Words of Radiance was the book that Yasna had given Shallan, and be like, yep, read this. It will teach you more about your, read about like the light weavers. But then their boat sank that night, so Shallan could not read it.
So I wonder who recovered it and is writing this all down, or reading this as we read it.
There are other copies.
Yeah, but we know somebody's like weirdly researching Shallan.
Yeah, she has a stalker.
Yeah, a stalker.
Not just Shallan. You also had Naj last time. We actually saw him watching the Bridgemen.
That's true. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They figure out who the anchor beings are, like in Deadpool Wolverine, and just watch them, like the main characters, all cheesy.
All right, so this chapter, we start off with Adolin, and he's practicing throwing his shard blade. He's just summoning it, throwing it, and trying to keep it to stay after he throws it. Because after being stuck on the ceiling last night and just useless during the battle, he's doing this so that way he doesn't wind up being useless next time. And he walks around, and he's followed by a couple guards, and he thinks that's just laughable to have these 3 bridgemen with him, because they couldn't even do anything if they wanted to if the assassin returned. But Adolin does think that Kaladin had been more useful than himself in that fight. And he feels like he is being unfair towards Kaladin. But Kaladin was strange in ways that Adolin just could not explain.
I really like Adolin's danger sense here is so attuned, because Kaladin has so many weird secrets and shit. Like I think he has every reason to not trust him and think that there's something fucking wrong with him.
Yeah, that makes me like him.
Adolin? I thought you loved Adolin.
Yeah, but that makes me appreciate and like him for being so smart.
I just assumed Adolin was your favorite character, Sheta.
Let me think. Yeah,
Sadeas.
What favorite main? I guess Sadeas has a POV chapter now.
I like Sadeas a lot too. That's why them two are my favorite. But Adolin is more involved with like Dalinar and Shallan and stuff, I guess, than Sadeas. Until he joins us, then it will be Adolin.
Until he joins the good guy team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He will.
Yeah, he did that last book, and look where it led them.
Everyone makes mistakes and stuff.
He didn't make a mistake. That was on purpose.
But he just didn't know he was making a mistake.
Yeah. Okay. Can't argue with that.
All right. Adolin leaves, and he watches as Ardents set up tents in order to be able to do some soul casting. And he sees the Ardents who use the soul casters, they just don't look completely human anymore. Prolonged usage of soul casters made their eyes shine like gemstones. And he even sees a woman's skin that looks like it has hardened, and now she's kind of like a living statue.
So they're turning into parchment? Is that what it seems like, Sheta?
Yeah. Like, almost like doing that for a long time will mess you up physically.
I think it's more like they're turning into what they soul cast, like a lot of stones.
That's fucking badass. Yeah, so the parchment have been soul casting obsidian for like millions of years, so that's why they're all blackened and stuff. That's my new theory.
Yeah. What's to say these aren't super old peoples who have, are descended from people who super did that stuff and were permanently like changed and stuff. That means I'm right.
That just means you're right?
Joe's silence means I'm right.
I don't think that's how that works. If so, then some of the worst things you've ever said would be right because they stun him into silence.
No, because whether you're right or wrong, even if you say something wrong and I immediately tell you, no, you're wrong, it kind of ruins the point of the podcast. I correct you if there's information we already know, but if it's information we wouldn't have yet, I just let it go.
No matter how much it may hurt to do so.
Oh yeah. There have been plenty of times through all the books we've done where it's like, I really want to correct you on this, but I can't.
I like getting to believe in a dream for a bit. Like, I'm still mad you shattered my Sadius and Adolin getting together. Well, actually, not 100% shattered. Maybe they'll still have a relationship.
I'm just gonna move on. All right, so yeah, and Kadash, we saw him a little bit last book, I believe, talking with Adolin, but he comes over to talk to Adolin. He's one of their Ardents. The Soulcasters, they usually only Soulcast at night because they don't want people watching them, but now they're also doing it during the day because they need to train new Soulcasters. And Adolin's watching, and he can kind of see mist coalescing, similar to what happens before Shardblade forms, and then suddenly a wall of stone appears. And Adolin says that the Radiance could soulcast. Kadash says it was written that they could. Adolin asks him what else could the Radiance do, but Kadash has not read on it extensively. Adolin tells him that he needs information because the assassin in white returned. He talks about the abilities that Szeth used, and he asks if those were the same powers that the Radiance had. Kadash tells him those and more. And Adolin asks him to look into it. They need to know how to fight against the assassin.
Have not read on it extensively, my ass. I don't believe anything this guy says. In fact, I think I just don't trust Ardents in general now that I think about it. What's with this don't do stuff during the day, uncomfortable with people learning how they do stuff? I don't like any of that.
Yeah, they're pretty shady.
Mm-hmm.
So they're either like, they're the only ones who know stuff and either they're hiding it or they're stupid and they're hiding it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One of the two. Yep, I completely agree.
And Kadash, he seemed a little bit shaken because this could mean that the Radiants are not dead. And then we jump over to a Navani point of view. And Navani's watching as her scholars are preparing to test a fabrial that she has been overseeing. It's a large circular wooden structure similar to the top of a siege tower. And Rushu, we saw her earlier in the book. She's always just seems kind of distracted. She's looking over a report and tells Navani that, you should read it. Navani tells her, oh, we'll do it later. Rusha goes on about how this is a report, pretty much talk about these changes of Spren. It's kind of a report from those Ardents we saw in the interlude last book with the, flame Spren and stuff. But Navani once again has to get Rushu to focus on their current project. And Navani notices that Adolin has shown up and is going to be watching. And to begin the test, they lower something, so now this structure just begins rising in the air, just on its own, not being held up by anything. As she watches, Navani wishes that she could be on that structure as it rose, but she knew that Dalinar would have a heart attack if she did that. The scholars are all taking notes on it while it's going up. Some of them are talking about how it's just wiggling a little bit, wobbling, wanted to be a little bit better. And Adolin comes over to talk with his aunt. And when he gets over, she tells the scholars, all right, go down there, check out the platform, get better, check it out closer. They all leave, except Rushu. And she has to tell Rushu again, because Rushu just didn't quite take the hint that she wanted to talk to her nephew alone. And Navani's looking at Adolin's shard plate that he's wearing, and she thinks that she will figure out how to make more of it. The more they learn about technology and the power of captured Spren, the closer they get to it.
Yeah, I respect that so much. I'm glad somebody's fucking doing that stuff. Everyone just takes these magics for granted, They don't see that if you research them, they could be technology for you, so I like that a lot.
And Adolin notices that Navani's only wearing a glove on her safe hand instead of having a whole sleeve. And he gets a little bit uncomfortable because having a glove is like wearing a bikini or something like
your aunt's in
lingerie.
a spaghetti
I
strap.
thought of it more like your aunt is in a fucking tube top or something. You're like, Jesus, what are you wearing? He's like, wow, it makes me
Put
feel
that away. I love Adolin and his auntie. That's my favorite.
Little like a little micro skirt or something. And you're just like, oh, I felt so bad for him when he turns. You're just like, oh God.
I want to see you like that.
Yeah. Oh God, you're my aunt, and you're basically my surrogate stepmom now. Oh.
Yeah, my dad's banging you.
Yeah.
And Adolin asks her how they were able to get that platform to rise. Navani begins explaining exactly how it works, and then she realizes Adolin doesn't understand at all what she is saying. So she breaks it down pretty much, kind of explain it like a span read, where a span read, they're able to split the, spreading the gems, and what one does, the other does the exact same. So with this, it's like that, but they got it so that way what one does, the other does the opposite. So they lower one platform, and this platform rises. Adolin asks if they could make this work on the battlefield. Navani thinks that this was the same exact thing that Dalinar asked her when she first showed him the concept. And she tells Adolin that proximity is an issue. The farther away the pairs are, the weaker they grow. But they should still work if they're both on like the Shatter Planes. Adolin says that this could give them a great tactical advantage. And Navani tells him that this is not the most ambitious idea they have. There are things that are just theoretical right now, but once, they see what the Ardents are imagining, yeah. And Adolin asks, well, the Ardents, well, what about you? She tells him that she's just their patron. She doesn't have time to make all the diagrams and figures and stuff, even if she were up to the task. And Adolin tells her that he's come to escort her to the meeting. After the attack last night, the High Princes have all demanded that Elhokar meet with them. And Adolin asks her if she's been doing anything to encourage his father's advances. And she answers that she practically had to seduce the man.
This conversation. Oh, God. Your aunt's walking around in a bikini top. You're having to ask, like, are you, like, trying to bang my dad? She's just like, yeah, I am, man. It's awesome. Like, this is a step away from turning into something I don't want to see.
I'm just like, don't even ask, Adolin. Like, just don't ask. You're not going to want to know.
And Adolin tells her that she has put his father into a difficult position because his father's trying to get all the other High Princes to follow the codes and everything, but he himself is ignoring, similar traditions by courting her. And she says, well, that's just a bothersome tradition. Adolin responds that seems like, she seems content only ignoring the bothersome ones while expecting all others to go along with the rest of the traditions. She says, of course I do.
Navani is trying so hard here to be my favorite character. She's pushing the science. She's just picking and choosing which traditions she likes and which she forces on everybody. I'm really tempted to pick her here.
Gonna go for the mom since you couldn't have the daughter?
That is not what I said.
Sorry.
No, this is the closest I get to Yasna still. It's funny to see similar to Yasna in the way she's different as we get to know her more.
Yeah. I have to say, I can't stand how she talks in the audiobook.
How does she sound in there?
There's a way that these like super smart like women talk like, and she
is it like, of course I do. Does it sound like that?
It's just so condescending and like I'm so smart. I'm so much smarter than you. Like,
sounds good. I'm not hearing the problem yet.
Like, oh great, we get a sassy auntie. Like, it's even more. Oh my gosh. Also, yeah. So we've got Yasna who kind of talked like that, but wasn't that bad. Shallan, when she talks down to like sailors and stuff, like she's so smart that was always hard to listen to, and now Yasna's probably the queen of that. So I was really
You're saying I should be listening to the audiobook. That's what I'm hearing you say,
yes.
Sheta.
If you like that, then you definitely should. What was I saying for? Oh, she also butted into Adolin's chapter, so that was another annoyance for me.
Butted into.
Yeah, this is Adolin's chapter. I was really excited, and then suddenly we hear the female narrator come in and say that stuff.
Oh, the narrator.
Yeah.
And then Navani tells Adolin that he's free from that causal for now because Yasna has gone gallivanting somewhere. And she won't be able to marry Adolin off until Yasna reappears in a day or a few months or whenever she does.
Oh, this is so sad. Hear her denial. Everyone else is like later Dalinar's like, it's good to have that confirmed. Like everyone else is thinking Navani,
they kind of knew.
He died. Like, but she's just like, no, you know how she is, always sinking ships and then showing up months later.
She did the same thing when she was 18.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and yep, that's pretty much the end of the chapter. Anything else you two want to go over?
No, but it was just amusing to hear Adolin talk with his auntie.
All right. So, this chapter was called The Multiplied Strain of Simultaneous Infusion. Why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Because she is pulling herself in many directions, and what was it again?
The multiplied strain of simultaneous infusion.
Yes, working on so many things, putting it into herself in order to stop herself from worrying about Yasna. The multiplied strain is finally proving to be too much, as we see by her walking around with her nips out, basically.
I thought it was just talking about how the Fabrials were working to get that thing elevated.
Well, it's a little of both, but I think mine is also in there.
Yeah, I think so. That could be an artsy flair to it.
Yep, nips out.
Artsy nips flair. Out. Auntie's second chance at life.
Okay. Well, let's just go right on to the next chapter. Chapter 36, A New Woman. Epigraph. And when they were spoken of by the common folk, the releasers claimed to be misjudged because of the dreadful nature of their power. And when they dealt with others, always they were firm in their claim that their other epithet, notably Dustbringers, often heard in the common speech, were unacceptable substitutions. In particular, for their similarity to the word Voidbringers. They did also exercise anger and great prejudice regarding it, though to many who speak, there is little difference between the two assemblies. All right. So, chapter begins, and Shallan awakens as a new woman. She wasn't sure what woman she was, but she knew that she wasn't the same frightened woman who suffered the storms of her broken house. She was not the same naive woman who tried to steal from Yasna and got deceived by Capsule and Tin. And Shallan, she's trying to get into one of Tin's chests, but it's locked. So she's sending Pattern in through like the little lock hole to see what's inside the chest. He says he sees a pattern, and then he manages to unlock it.
I thought he might have seen a mirror and was saying, I see a pattern. He is cute.
That would have been so freaking annoying. Like, ha, pattern.
I'm glad he's useful.
Yeah, inside the chest are clothes. And Shallan, she puts on a nice dress. She uses some of Tin's makeup to put on makeup. So now she looks like a proper light-eyed woman. And today, she will arrive in the Shattered Plains.
Well, it's pretty morbid to use a dead woman's makeup who you killed. That's pretty gothic of you, Shallan.
Sheta, it's called being resourceful.
Are they the same shade, or I wonder?
Joe, by that logic, if you see somebody with something you need and you kill them and take it, that would be called being resourceful.
No, she didn't kill her to take her makeup. She just happened to have it, and now she's going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, you've played Dungeons and Dragons. What's the first thing you do once they end battle? Everyone loots the corpses.
Yes, but I'm not doing it to random people in the street.
What about if you're playing like a Skyrim?
I'm not doing it to random people in the street in there either. Plus, Skyrim's bullshit. They don't let you kill anyone in the world.
I thought you could. I thought you would kill, and you'd always have the guard being like, "Hey, what's that?" And then like goes.
You can kill most people, but you can't kill anyone. Anyone even remotely quest important, you can't kill. In Oblivion and in Fallout, the old ones, you could kill anyone though.
Yeah.
What about Fable? Could you kill important people in Fable?
No, you could kill nameless townspeople, though. You could kill them to your heart's delight.
All right, so then Vatha is talking to Shallan. He tells her that they burned all the bodies last night. But he warns her that they saw another guard patrol this morning. So if someone would find those bones in the ashes later, it could lead to questions. So Shallan tells him to gather all the bones into a sack and she will deal with them later.
That's quite a sentence. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she even says that.
Uh-huh.
Like, I didn't think I'd have that on my to-do list this morning, but
I'm imagining deal with them later. Does that mean soul casting them all fucking disgustingly?
Yeah. Soul cast them into a pile of dust.
So creepy, man.
And Vatha says that some of the men are uncomfortable now that they are so close to the war camps. And after a little back and forth, he tells her that he will reassure them that she will keep her promise to them. And Shallan meets with Macabre, who has clearly heard about her Shardblade. She says that she needs a palanquin to head down, and it's not possible to send one of her soldiers down to the war camps to get one right now. So Macabre agrees to get her one. He tells her that his lips are sealed when it comes to her and everything. He bids her farewell, and he hopes that he does not see her again. And Pattern tells Shallan that he had listened to the soldiers last night, and they were worried that she would come for them. She tells Pattern to keep his ears open, and today will only get more interesting. Shallan's riding her palanquin through the war camps, and she's realizing the immensity of the task that she has in front of her. She needs to discover what Jasnah was looking for in the Shattered Plains. She needs to persuade the Alethi to take matters against the Parshmen, and she needs to investigate the people Tin has been meeting with. She needs to learn what they know about Urithiru, deflect their attention away from her brothers, and find a way to repay them for what they did to Jasnah. Dalinar is probably her best hope for that, but she wonders if he even will take her in. She does need a patron, but she doesn't know how Dalinar will react to her. And in the war camps, Shallan's soldiers are asking around about the High Prince, and she learns that Dalinar, along with most of the High Princes, are meeting with the king. And Vatha notes that there are just too many patrols out right now, so something must have happened recently. And Shallan tells them, all right, bring me to the king. Vatha asks, are you going to kill him? And she's like, no, I'm not. Vatha says that he wouldn't care if she did. Everything's gotten worse for Alethkar since he took the throne.
It's funny to me, this whole section where they're like, you keep claiming you're this woman, but we don't fucking believe it. So they're all like scared about what the fuck she's going to do and what's going to happen here.
Yeah. I mean, she killed the other woman. Like, that's pretty scary.
Mm-hmm. And then did it like it was not just killed her and was like, it's not even a big deal,
Kill
like,
her,
Jesus,
kill all her men. Yeah.
this woman seemed like such a goody two-shoes.
Yeah, and having the shard blade too that they saw, and she was acting all different. It kind of shows how hardened these men are, that they wouldn't just like run away,
Yeah, they got nothing to fucking lose here. They've already pulled in with her.
Yeah.
And he says it when he's like, it'll be fucking hard to get out of here if you do kill him. If you want to do that, maybe we should go about it differently.
Give us a warning so that we don't all get killed.
Mm-hmm. Like, is this girl smart or is she fucking stupid? They also don't know that.
Yeah, they don't know anything about her. Very interesting.
I love when the fucking murder hobo bandit ex-deserters are like the comic relief characters of the chapters, which they were this whole time.
And Shallan thinks about what would happen if Dalinar did take her in. She might just wind up becoming a lesser scribe tucked away to the side in his house. She's determined not to let that happen. She needed the freedom and the funding in order to investigate Urithiru and Jasnah's murder. Shallan's going to be so disappointed when she finds out that Urithiru is just the friends they made along the way.
I certainly hope not. That'd be fucking terrible.
The city of Urithiru, it's within all of us.
Oh, God. No, it's a fucking metaphor, huh? Fuck this shit.
And Shallan, she's looking through her sketchbook, and she looks at that picture that she had made of Bluth. Pattern says it's a lie, but Shallan says, no, it's not. This is what he became in the end. And she begins drawing a different version of herself, a lie that could become true. She drew herself as a confident woman standing before Dalinar and the rest of the court. In it, she stood strong and spoke with confidence. This is what she would have been if she had not been raised in a house of fear. They arrive at the palace, and Shallan has Vatha and Gaz attend her. As they walk up to the front of the palace, they find 16 guards at the door. Like, she had heard that Elhokar was paranoid, but she did not expect this. So she's getting up, she has Vatha announce her, and the guards let her by. In a pretty funny way of announcing her, being like, don't you recognize Shallan Devar, Adolin's betrothed? And when they're inside, they assume, well, the king's probably up towards the top of the palace, so they start heading up that way. When they get up to the top in the hallway, Gaz worries because they find Sadeas's colors, along with colors of all the rest of the High Princes. And Shallan notices that Dalinar's guards have very few light eyes among them. And she kind of recognizes one of these guards. And he's talking to some guards that were from downstairs. They managed to beat them up here. And then he looks at her, and then he looks down at her feet, and she kind of groans when she realizes who he is.
See, I told you, this is why you don't do that kind of shit.
She is a racist. She's like, I'm not going to see this dark eyes guy again.
That's not what happened.
Yeah.
She said she hoped she wouldn't see him again. And part of that was because of Tin forcing her to be a Horneater princess.
I entirely blame Tin. What are you supposed to do with that situation?
So Kaladin walks up to Shallan and he questions, is Adolin really betrothed to a Horn-Eater princess? She explains that she was just hiding her identity while traveling. Kaladin asks her about his boots. She just kind of ignores it and she says that she needs to speak with Dalinar. But he tells her he's not going to let her see Dalinar. And he explains that he is the captain of Dalinar's guard. He is the captain of Dalinar's guard. She asks what his name is, and she tells him that Dalinar will hear about this. What's your name? I'm going to tell your manager.
What's your badge number?
It's funny.
And yeah, she looks over, and Shallan's like, wait, where'd Gaz go? And he's like trying to hide away.
Yay!
I was wondering the whole time. I was like, is Gaz just trying? I'm like, Gaz can't like blend in. He sticks out so much. So him trying to slink away was the funniest shit ever. When she said, Gaz, come with me, I was like, don't bring Gaz with you. No.
Gaz is her bestie in this group.
I was like, dear God, that's going to end poorly.
It's going to be so fun.
Then Kaladin notices Gaz. And Shallan asks how he knows Gaz. Kaladin says, well, he tried to kill me. And Kaladin tells Shallan that you're not Adolin's betrothed. Adolin's betrothed drowned. And Shallan takes a piece of paper, hands it to Kaladin. She tells him to go show that to Navani. Because the paper is from one of Jasnah Spanreed's discussions that she had with Navani. And so Navani would have a exact copy of it. Shallan and Kaladin, they just begin arguing with each other. Just going back and forth, until the entire hallway just quiets and people are just watching them.
Ooh, they have instant fiery reaction to each other. Chemistry.
You got an instant ship here, Sheta?
Yeah. They're going to drive each other nuts, but they can't be together, sadly.
Mm-hmm. You know, Sheta, if you ship them, you've just killed Adolin, right?
No.
I think you have.
He'll be fine. But I'm not shipping them. I'm shipping their chemistry together. I told you I'm hoping.
How's that any different?
I told you I'm hoping for a love triangle.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
You know, Adolin doesn't have to die. She could just pick Kaladin over Adolin.
No, narratively, Adolin has to die to make it more tragic.
Jacob didn't die.
Who?
Jacob. He just ended up.
He started hooking up with a baby. That's a totally different situation.
He did not start hooking up. That'll have to wait at least 20 years.
Uh-huh.
In Hunger Games, both love interests stayed alive.
Yeah.
I think that what happened with the
Gale?
Gale was worse than dying. He had to reflect on whether or not he was involved in war crimes that killed somebody very close to somebody he cares about. I think that's way worse.
I mean, that's a pretty bad breakup. So
that's beyond a breakup. That's a can I even live anymore kind of situation.
That was the author realizing, crap, there's no way for me to get out of her. There's no way for me to logically make her not want to pick Gale.
I'd never pick Gale. He's boring as fuck. I don't care how handsome he is. He is boring.
He was so... When I read the books, I found him so much more interesting than Peeta.
Yeah, Sheta, you're the girl here. You get to have the final say.
I did at the beginning, just like Katniss, but once the war stuff started happening, he seemed to be just a one-note kind of guy, and I could not relate with him anymore. So I totally see
her.
Yeah, I totally see why she would pick Peeta. You know, they just grew apart. You know, their interests didn't align anymore. And Peeta is more my type than Gale anyway.
Less handsome, lamer. Is that what you're saying?
No. I guess I would pick a...
Makes fucking cakes for a living.
I would pick a more sensitive personality over brawniness and stuff and manliness. It's I'm manly enough for the two of us.
All right, so back to our story. You know, after the hallway got quiet watching them, Kaladin, he leaves to head to the King's Chamber. And Vatha asked Shallan if it was wise to get into a shouting argument with the captain of Dalinar's guard. But she explains that by causing an incident now that everyone's seen, she has made it so that way Dalinar will hear of this, and Kaladin won't be able to keep their arrival secret. And like Gaz and Vatha are like, wow, you really? And she's like, well, no, I wasn't clever enough to plan all that, but it will work out. And Shallan asks Gaz how he knows Kaladin. And Gaz explains the last time he saw Kaladin, he was a slave. And he says that Kaladin is dangerous.
Yeah,
He watches.
if he grows up that much, dear God, that's pretty weird.
Well,
Yeah,
he literally has dangerous branded onto his forehead.
Oh God, I forgot he's the Joker.
Damaged.
He has a slave brand and dangerous.
Ultimate bad boy. You don't want to go with the likes of me, girly.
God, don't turn this into whatever that is, please. I beg you.
And then she's like, I don't know, I can't resist your dangerousness, though. I like it. I can't wait for this love triangle.
Yeah, but Kaladin reluctantly enters the king's chambers with Shallan's paper. Eventually, he comes back out and he signals for Shallan to come and enter, but only her, Vatha, and Gaz have to stay out. So Shallan takes a deep breath and heads into the king's conference chamber. And that's the end of that chapter.
Yay, a lot of fateful meetings. Gaz and Kaladin.
Yeah, it's all happening so fast now.
Yeah, I feel almost mad that it's so fast.
Do you?
Yeah, because I want to spend a lot of time with it, but
I don't know. I felt like we got to spend a pretty good long time with Yasna Shallan and Kaladin.
yeah, that was fun. I like that.
Well, Sheta, if it makes you feel better, this is a really thick book. There's still a lot left.
Yoo-hoo! I have a list of things I hope happens.
Do you actually have a list written down?
Not all of the things, but I have a mental list.
All right.
I'll have one next.
Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
I thought it was funny to see Shallan's instant reaction whenever somebody annoys her or goads her is to say something mean and clever all fast, like a little insult. And I think it's funny, Sheta, that's something that annoyed you so much in the early book. But here we see her in a situation where somebody's also doing the same thing, and she will not back down. She will not allow somebody else to win that bitchy little comment argument. And I'm like, Kaladin, you can't beat her. She has infinite. She will go on forever. You cannot beat this woman. This is her, if anything.
This is what I do. Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
I found that very, very amusing and funny.
Yeah.
This is what she does. This is all she does. She absolutely will not stop ever.
Yeah. It was funny.
So this chapter was called A New Woman. Why do you believe that was chosen for a chapter title?
Why am I being asked on this one? It literally said in the opening sentence.
I wonder why, because I guess she's still kind of doing the same habits that she did before, but no, she woke up a new woman. That was the start of the chapter.
Designed herself to be a new woman in her drawing, I think.
Ooh. Yep.
We see that her drawings do either come true or reflect truths. So I think he has some insight power that allowed her to kind of like, something.
She does have that power. She is shape forming it with her powers.
She's using her Parshendi powers. Now that would be funny if it turns out she has the same ancestry, because she's the most against them now that she thinks of them as void bringers.
Oh, you were told earlier in the book she had the powers of illumination and transformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying if she got that from the same source, that would be funny.
And I think it was a new woman because both like Shallan's changing herself and she's a new woman who has arrived in the Shattered Plains.
A new woman has entered the field and she's hot.
Yeah.
And she's hot.
All right. So we go into chapter 37, A Matter of Perspective. Epigraph. Now, as each order was thus matched to the nature and temperament of the herald it named patron, there was none more archetypal of this than the Stonewards, who followed after Talinel Elin, Stone Sinew, Herald of War. They thought it a point of virtue to exemplify resolve, strength, and dependability. Alas, they took less care for imprudent practice of their stubbornness, even in the face of proven error.
I kind of like these guys.
You would.
So this is a Adolin chapter, and Adolin's pretty glad that there's a break between meetings. 2 hours had passed with the High Princes and their wives all complaining about the assassin in white, and nobody agreeing on what should be done. Adolin thinks that nothing could be done besides just staying alert and practicing. And Adolin right now was not wearing his shard blade. General Call was wearing it in a side room along with the strike force, just in case the assassin arrived. But Adolin did see plenty of people in shard plate and just straight up shard bearers here, and thinks that, it doesn't really matter. The assassin has been killing dozens of soldiers, including killing 3 shard bearers at the same time in Yakaved. Adolin takes his time to head over to Relis, High Prince Ruthar's son and the current dueling champion, and he's also a full shard bearer. Adolin tries to get Relis to agree to a duel, but Relis, declines and implies that Adolin is beneath him and not worth it. Adolin even offers to put up his 5 shards against Relis's, but Relis just calls him a fool. Elit, though, Relis's cousin, who only had a shard blade, looked intrigued, so Adolin asked him, and Elit asked if it would be the same offer. Adolin says yes, so Elit agrees to the duel, which just upsets Relis. And Elit says they will do this duel in 7 days. Relis insults Adolin as a way to get Adolin to try to punch him, which would then allow Relis to avoid all contracts with Adolin, including duels, but Adolin doesn't fall for it.
Good job, Adolin.
And then Sadeas comes up to Adolin and says that it looks like he's determined to embarrass himself with all these duels. Sadeas tells Adolin that what he had did to his father was a kindness. Adolin threatens to kill Sadeas. Sadeas warns him about saying such a thing in a room full of people. Adolin just gets sick of all this Alethi stuff because, Sadeas could knowingly betray them. But if Adolin, threatens him, that's just dishonorable. And he balls up his fist and he gets ready to punch Sadeas until Amaran puts his arm on Adolin's shoulder and tells him that would not be wise.
Amaran. Always the voice of kindness and reason.
I hate him.
Really? I liked him in this part. I liked him a lot.
He's such a hypocrite.
I didn't think he was a hypocrite at all. I thought he was completely honest with Adolin. I was actually surprised and impressed.
Yeah, but he's a fake ass.
I think that from what we learn about him here, he doesn't seem like a fake ass to me. He seems like a man who knows exactly who he truly is, knows that that's a useless thing to be, and so follows a different way in order to be the man he believes that the world needs him to be instead. I gained a lot of interesting respect for him in this little section personally, more than I had before.
I didn't see him like that. I saw him as the type of guy who has a weird, kinky, dark secret, and he's all pretending to be normal and stuff in the daylight.
Well, I think we're saying the same thing. I just think his is far more. When it says, "Oh, he dresses really well," we know he tries to act very lordly. We know he tries to act very lordly, and he acted very lordly when he went and talked to Kaladin's people, and that made it seem like he was a liar. But now I'm like, I wonder if he just puts this on because he knows from the same book and everything that this is how you need to be, even if you're not this way. It made me really curious and interested in him.
I don't think he's that smart.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because, that's what you're saying is kind of how Dalinar is, but it's not the same.
Dalinar's not like that. I think Dalinar does believe in the ideas once he reads them over. He sees the truth in them.
And he didn't understand them at first,
No, but I think they spoke to him because they're more close to his true nature, even though he gets mad and he's violent, his nature is to be a somewhat, he is a soldier, he is a warrior, so that speaks to him. Maybe Amaran's not. Maybe he's a skeevy, selfish loser,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's more my version of him. I don't like him.
I think this story with Amaran's going to be more interesting than I expected based on this interaction. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't like him.
And Adolin and Amaran, they move through the room. Adolin asks why he stays with Sadeas. Amram explains that Sadeas is his liege lord, and he also does not want to create a divide by switching over to the Kholin princedom. If he stays with Sadeas, that he could help bridge the gap between the two. Adolin says that Sadeas will just betray you, but Amram responds that the two of them have an understanding. He says that he and Sadeas agree that the means they choose to reach an honorable goal are distasteful, and that he and Dalinar agree on what that goal should be.
That's what
better
I'm saying,
Alfcar
Sheta. That's
without all the
interesting.
squabbling.
He's so blatant and upfront. I thought that was going to be something that was more secretive. When he just says it out loud, that makes me really interested.
And Amram's talking, and then Adolin gets us distracted when he sees a woman with gorgeous red hair walking through.
Oh my god, Adolin. I didn't know he was like that.
That's what
like he's like, oh, humana.
I love the way it's written, where it's just like, yeah, this. Who is that?
Yeah.
She was so different, and he twisted around watching her pass. And Amram chuckles, saying that Adolin was still doing that.
You horn dog.
Aruga.
See, this is why I need to know. I need to know what is wrong with him.
He's a horn dog.
Yeah, but is he hooking up with everybody? I doubt it, so I don't know.
What does doing that mean? Is that what you're asking? When he's like,
it's like whoa, doing a double take whenever a babe walks in. He's like, some new tail? Whoa, bro.
Adolin's just that guy from that meme that always has, like, walking with a girl checking out.
Maybe it's that
so
simple.
funny. We gotta make that meme.
Checks out other girls and pisses them off.
Like,
you know?
ooh, who's that new thing?
He never seals the deal. Even he just keeps looking.
And Amram tells Adolin that he needs to settle down and pick one. His mother would be mortified to see that he was still unwed. But Adolin brings up how Jasnah was still unwed, and Amram says that Jasnah is hardly a role model in that regard, and his tone implied more.
That she's a lesbian? Yeah, that's what I hear. I mean,
I think it's more that
evidence of that, but
I think it was more that, like, because I think in, like, the prologue and stuff with Jasnah, it, like, hinted that he wanted to get with her.
Oh
yeah. Yeah.
Amram?
So he knows firsthand. She probably was like, I'm not into dudes, sorry.
I don't think that's what she's like, but I do. Somebody remind me. Has she given her notes to Shallan on what she thought of Amaran?
I don't think so.
I would love to know.
I think because the notes would because Amram was not in the Shattered Plane, so the notes that Shallan had would be the High Princes.
How young is Amram compared to, like, Dalinar? Compared to Dalinar, compared to Adolin? I wonder.
Oh yeah, here was the line I was looking for with when Jasnah was talking with her father and Amram. Perhaps if you found pleasant associations, Gavilar said, you would enjoy the feast. His eyes swung towards Amram, whom he'd long fancied as a potential match for her.
Cute.
And the next thing was, it would never happen. Amram met her eyes, the murmured words of parting to her father, and hastened away down the corridor.
I like Dalinar trying to play matchmaker.
That was Gavilar.
Or Gavilar. Oh yeah, her dad. Sorry, it's not Dalinar.
Dalinar was too busy getting drunk.
Yeah.
Adolin asks Amram if he has ever seen such a deep shade of red hair. Amram says that she's probably Vaden, and Adolin wonders, wait, could it be? So he leaves Amram and goes towards the woman, who is currently talking to his father.
Of why she was so hot was so fucking funny to me. So much of it was just like you said, that she looks so different than the other people around here. Just like, Jesus Christ, Adolin. And just to say, you're having like a pretty serious discussion. You're like, dude, have you ever seen hair that red? Oh man, that's so hot. Like, I feel like we're seeing a whole nother side of this character here that's been implied, but we've never seen it officially.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he leaves Amram and heads towards the woman who's currently talking to his father and aunt, and telling them that Jasnah went down with the ship. And that's the end of the chapter.
And then we know he has no tact, because he's hearing her say, "Yep, Yasna died," and then he walks over to her with a big goofy grin on his face. So that shows maybe part of why he pisses girls off so much.
He's not thinking with his head at this point. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
It wasn't all like that, though.
All like what?
He was a little more tactful than that, I think.
Why is he smiling?
He can't help it. He just saw the woman of his dreams.
The woman of his dreams, I see.
Yeah. You just you're shot. You should shot by Cupid.
Yeah, he was shot by Cupid. This is true love for sure, Sheta.
Mm-hmm.
We do finally have something answered that I always wonder.
What's that?
Adolin is not just a curvy guy. He likes thin girls too, as he specifically says in here.
In fact, he might only like thin girls, since he ditched all those busty girls.
Like, she doesn't have those same disgusting curves that Alethi women have. Instead, she's got that hot, gangly look instead.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anymore.
I don't even want to know. Jesus.
Anything else from this chapter you two want to go over?
Apparently a lot from Sheta that she's not going to.
Yeah. I really love all these Sadeas and Adolin scenes together, though. They're my favorite. And I'm getting so many, so I'm happy. And I think it's here we learn, too, that Adolin's goal with the duels is to duel Sadeas, So I'm really excited for that. Mm-hmm. I hope they do get to duel. Finally get their feelings for each other worked out in a duel.
Not their platonic feelings, yes, I agree.
They have a lot of, feelings about each other.
Platonic feelings to work through, yes, absolutely. Well,
it's interesting. Yeah. I didn't agree, but I didn't disagree. They do have a lot of feelings like that.
A lot of platonic ones, that's right.
Stop saying that.
Okay, so this chapter was called A Matter of Perspective. So why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Because he saw Shallan from the correct perspective to see all her best features.
And someone like Amarin would be like, I don't know what you're gawking at. I just see some skinny kid.
That is not what he said at all.
Well, I think
Amarin implied that she was hot, actually, which I found interesting.
Really?
I don't remember the wording he used, but it was like, you're always, going gaga for every, something young thing that comes in. I forget what word he had.
Hot young thing.
Not hot. And I thought that was interesting because we've so far only seen Shallan through female perspectives, or through her own perspective, really. We've never seen what your average guy thinks of her. So I think that's very interesting.
The sailors seem to like her.
Mm-hmm. They did, yeah.
And then, Capsule fell for her a little bit.
Yeah, seemingly.
So now we'll move on to our last chapter for today, chapter 38, The Silent Storm. Epigraph. Now, as the Windrunners were thus engaged, arose the event which has hitherto been referenced, namely the discovery of some wicked thing of eminence, though whether it be some rogueries among the Radiant's adherents or of some external origin, Avenna would not suggest.
Like I said, these read a lot different than those poems.
Alright, so now we're in Shallan's head. And Shallan's telling Dalinar and Navani that she is sorry for their loss. Navani had been smiling when Shallan just came in, so she realizes that Navani had still been holding out hope for her daughter, and Shallan just crushed it. And Shallan says that she has some information for them on what Yasna was studying, but Navani snaps about the parchment and that Yasna was just too fascinated with them. And she wants Shallan to tell her everything that happened when she thought that she saw Yasna die. Shallan also notices a mostly blonde, handsome man watching and assumes that it's Adolin. So Shallan tells the story about how she saw Yasna get stabbed in the chest and die, and she tells the story about the men that were being slaughtered on deck. Shallan does slightly change the story. She doesn't tell him that she soul cast the boat in the water, but instead says that she set it on fire in order to save the men. And Navani gets pissed at her and says that she doomed Yasna. The men would have been able to swim, but Yasna, in her state, would not have been able to.
Completely agree. Even if Dalinar speaks perfect sense here, I'm on board with her there.
Yeah, because Dalinar tells Navani that Shallan's choice was a good one. Jasnah was not unconscious. It was too late for her. Navani takes a deep breath and apologizes, saying that she was not herself at that moment. And Navani, she's able to make a reasonably graceful exit. During their conversation, Shallan notices that Dalinar and Navani seem a lot more intimate and closer than she would expect from like a brother and sister-in-law.
Ugh. Just picking up on this incestuous stuff immediately.
It is not incestuous.
There's no incest.
Ultrally incestual.
Man, I sometimes mess up my notes. Shallan tells Shallan that she had been able to...
That's just, you just spoiled it.
Oh my
Now we
gosh.
know. Now we know.
So Shallan tells Dalinar that she had been able to make it through the Frostlands thanks to some soldiers. When Dalinar asks what banner they flew, Shallan tells him that they were deserters. She says that she had promised them clemency and that they had saved dozens of lives. So Dalinar says that he will see that the king seals pardons for them.
That was fucking easy. I was so grateful for that for her sake. Because this was the thing that I thought was like the biggest thing to... you have no idea what kind of person you're reaching out to, you know?
Yeah, but they're deserters from other people's camps, though.
Well, think even like a Ned Stark. He's supposed to be a good, honorable man, but he doesn't have high feelings about deserters, you know?
Oh, yeah, I see.
Like, even a so-called good person, depending on their beliefs, they may be like, well, the law's the law. I'm sorry, we can't.
Right, lawful
you know,
good. Yeah.
If people do bad things, they've done bad things, you know? Like,
even if they're deserters from other camps, Elhokar oversees all the princedoms, so
Elhokar, yeah.
That's also it. When he says the king will pardon it, that's when I'm like, oh, thank God. It's not some bullshit where he's like, I'll do what I can. Because I thought it was going to be Sadeas just obviously being like, no, I want them back to execute them, you know?
I see.
So when he's like, I'll have the king sign a writ or a pardon, I was like, that was lucky. Jesus Christ, you're lucky. It was Dalinar. Even she knew because she was like, whew, you know?
And then Shallan says there's another matter they need to discuss, and she looks over at Adolin, and he smiles at her. And Shallan had first only thought of this marriage as
I squeed.
I heard it.
And Shallan had first only thought of this marriage as a way to help her family, but she wasn't thinking of any of those advantages as she looked at Adolin. She thinks that this could be dangerous.
Oh my goodness.
You saw how quickly she fell for Capsule, you know?
Yeah.
This is fucking Adolin.
So Adolin walks over and introduces himself as he hands her a glass of wine.
Sorry, but this is the song Dangerous Woman by Ariana Grande is playing while this is happening.
But he's not a woman.
No. He makes her feel like a dangerous woman.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Shallan did not factor into the fact that Adolin was hot. Yeah, but Adolin says that their marriage did make more sense when she was Jasnah's ward, but he still asked Shallan if she wanted to go for a walk just to see how things feel. Shallan just responds that she likes walks, and then she's thinking, no, say something witty. And she says that Adolin has nice hair, and then she groans inside.
That was pretty awkward.
Gosh.
You have nice hair. Oh, fuck.
Your hair is nice. Oh, no.
She recovered it, I thought, yeah, she did a pretty good job recovering it, but...
Adolin's so-called walks are infamous, I think. He doesn't mean a walk.
What does he mean?
His mysterious thing he does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he holds their hand or something.
And Dalinar clears his throat because he's still standing there. And he asks Adolin to go get him some wine. So, and Shallan just once again thinks, oh man, Adolin's handsome as he leaves. But she finds Dalinar not handsome and also downright intimidating.
He doesn't understand hot. That's what Dalinar is.
Dalinar's a man.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
He's not some boyish, freaking, oh my gosh, heartthrob. Leonardo DiCaprio type.
Your Mickey Rourke versus young Leo.
Yeah.
I never thought of Mickey Rourke, but I like that actually.
Yeah.
Dalinar asks her of the status of her family. She decides it's probably best just to be upfront with him. She tells him that her family is destitute, and she explains the whole situation with her father and stuff. She says that marriage into his family will give her family protection. So Dalinar says that, so you have nothing to offer. And she asks Dalinar, how many wards has Jasnah taken in the last 10 years? He says none. She asks him how many Jasnah has turned down, and he hints, yeah, there's probably a lot. And she points out that Jasnah took her as a ward, so that is an endorsement from Jasnah.
Like, she picked me. I thought that was funny.
Dalinar tells her that they will maintain the causal for now. He had originally agreed to it because he wanted Adolin to seem unavailable to those who might manipulate him for political means. And if Shallan can persuade Dalinar, Navani, and Adolin, then they can progress this into a full betrothal. In the meantime, he will give Shallan a position among his lesser clerks.
Ugh, exactly the position she did not want.
Mhm.
That was funny.
I also feel like what he said was a very polite no. You know,
Like, we'll see. No.
like if you can convince all those people, then we'll go forward. And you're like, I just don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like he doesn't think much of this. This is such a low profile
Mhm.
problem for him right now.
She's also off to a pretty bad start when it comes to Navani.
Yeah, definitely. And also, like, she thought that she was being honest with saying they have nothing to offer, but I feel like that just made it worse for her.
Oh, I totally disagree. I think it was the only play. I think if she tried to canoodle this guy, he'd see right through her. And like she says, being blunt with him is just the only chance
No,
you
I
have.
think that was fine, but I just think that until she proves herself, she's at zero and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And she if she revealed like what Jasnah was hoping would benefit the family with her powers and stuff, then that
I
would
think
be
it's way
something.
too early to reveal that stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely without Jasnah here to back you up.
Mm-hmm.
Shallan's about to object to Dalinar's offer when High Prince Sabariel shouts out, "Hey Dalinar, let's get this meeting started." And Shallan wonders why Sabariel called on Dalinar to restart the meeting and not the king. So Shallan just stands and watches and observes the High Princes as they all sit down for the meeting. Dalinar sitting next to Elhokar, along with like Adolin and Renarin are there. At the opposite side, you have Sadeas sitting next to his wife, and they're sitting right next to High Prince Aladar and Ruthar, along with their wives. And from the way they're looking and stuff, she's able to put together that these are pretty much like two factions against each other, with the third faction being pretty much the rest of the other High Princes, who are all kind of neutral. And they all begin to talk about the assassin in white. And throughout the whole meeting, you have Sabariel. He just sort of interjects in just rude jokes throughout it all. And Shallan can tell that these two main factions are trying to work and convince the other High Princes to join their side. Dalinar and Sadeas, they both said very little, just kind of stared at each other. Sadeas was easy to pick out, red-faced from visible veins under the skin. Just, once again, he's not a good-looking guy.
Also, that he had a bulbous face was brought up too, Sheta. Are we ready to concede that he is not how you imagine him looking?
I think that you know my type.
I think I know it's not bulbous faced, red veined, flat looking, weird, ugly guys.
You don't know.
You said earlier your type was Josh Hutcherson.
I have a lot of types. Let's see. It's, handsomeness is in the eye of the beholder.
And the beholder just said he looks ugly as shit.
He has his eye stalks and everything telling you that.
Oh my gosh. Shallan's types, traditional heartthrob type boy types, so definitely not the same.
So you're saying that we can't trust her, but if somebody with some better judgment came in, maybe we could trust them?
Yeah, his wife likes him. Yeah, see?
Yeah, and Sabariel seemed to be the only one who did not fall into one of these three factions, and he just was there just acting obscene. When High Prince Ruthar complains on the restrictions placed on them, and says that they need to be lifted. And they're all talking, and then High Prince Valma just points at Shallan and asks, "Wait, who is that? Why is she here?" Rorion says that she had been talking to Dalinar earlier, and then Eli asks Shallan from news from her homeland, because she's clearly Vaden, and about some information on the assassin. She asks why someone under the employ of the Parshendi would seek to undermine the Yakaved throne. Shallan, she takes a moment to compose herself and be the person in the drawing that she had made earlier. She tells them that she will be very little use of them because she was away from her homeland when all that happened. Hatham asks, "Then why are you here?" And she says that she is the ward of Yasna Kholin, and her purpose here is of a personal nature. So Aldar's like, "Well, so that means you're that phantom betrothal that I had heard rumors about." And Ruthar, who Shallan thinks has an oily look, gives her a smile that seems predatory and asks what he has to do in order to get her to come to his camp and speak to his scribes. Rorion offers her an invitation to come, stay at his palace, so that way he can learn of her homeland. Shallan's just thinking, I just said I don't know anything. But she realizes that they don't really care about Yakaved. They just want to get more information about this betrothal. And she knows that the more politically savvy high princes, like Aldar and Hatham, they're not going to invite her right now in front of everybody. They'll wait until a private time to make an invitation. And Dalinar says that Shallan will be staying in his war camp and working as a scribe. But Shallan says that she can't because she already has taken a position in another war camp. So Shallan decides to take a gamble. And she says that Sabariel was the first one to offer her a position and a place to stay. Sabariel almost chokes on his wine that he's drinking, but, he looks up and he agrees and says that she is a distant relative.
I laughed out loud at that part.
Why?
I did. I was like, why are we focusing on this Sabariel guy so much? I didn't know they were building him up to be like, yes, that guy said he did. And then his reaction just being like, yep, yep, we're very close, her and I. I just found it so amusing, especially after he was being such a dick this whole time.
Yeah, I do love this whole chapter because we just get to see and learn a lot more about all the other high princes. Because for this, it was only like Dalinar and Sadeas. We've seen a little bit of Aladar and Rorion, but this one you really finally get to see a bunch more of them doing stuff. Yeah, and Shallan adds that, yep, and he's going to pay her 3 bromes a week, which just gets Sabariel's eyes to bug out. And Shallan tells Dalinar that she also did not think it would be appropriate to stay in the house of someone that she was courting.
I really liked her excuse for it, too.
Dalinar responds that he's just having trouble understanding why anyone would want to be closer to Sabariel than they need to be. And Shallan, she winds up making a insulting joke about Sabariel, which kind of horrifies all the high princes, except Aladar, who smiles, and Sabariel, who just laughs out loud.
And Sabariel's trying to be my favorite character here.
So Shallan, she sits down next to Sabariel, and he whispers to her that she made a stupid move. Everyone knows that he likes to set things on fire and watch them burn. And he tells her that he's not going to pay her the 3 bromes. That's almost as much as his mistress, and he actually gets something from her. Shallan says that no, you will pay it because now it's public record, and she will earn her keep. He asks her if she has information on Kholin, and she realizes, hey, he actually does care about some of this stuff. She tells Sabariel that she has less information on Kholin and more on the whole world. She tells him he's entered into a very profitable arrangement. And Shallan thinks that she just has to figure out why, though. So the High Princes, they continue to talk about the assassin in white, and Aladar eventually steers the conversation to complaints about how his gemstones are being taken by the crown. And Dalinar, he stands up, and he begins quoting from what Shallan recognizes is the Way of Kings. And Dalinar uses this passage he quotes to explain to them that the methods that they are using are not working. They've been at war for years, and they are still in the same position as they were before. They can no more fight the assassin now as they could the night that he killed Gavilar. They need to remove his employers and invalidate whatever contract binds him. And last they knew, he was employed by the Parshendi. Ruthar says they've been trying to win this war for 5 years, but Dalinar says, we haven't really been trying. He tells them that he intends to make peace with the Parshendi, and if they won't come to terms, then he will set out onto the charted plains with his army and anyone else who will join. No more games. They will find the Parshendi camp and defeat them once and for all. And Sadeas is fine with it. He's telling Dalinar, yeah, that's great. Go ahead and do that. Hatham says he doesn't see how it could work. The Shattered Plains are just huge and mostly unexplored, and they don't know where the Parshendi camp is. And Sadeas makes a joke about Dalinar getting surrounded on the plains once again, and anger spreads form around Adolin. And Shallan realizes that something's happened and she's missing something. Dalinar tells them that they had a messenger from the Parshendi come last night to discuss the possibility of peace. And then, that same night, the assassin wind up striking. Just like the last time when they signed a peace treaty and then assassinated Gavilar the same night. Dalinar does admit that it could be a coincidence, since the assassin has been attacking all over the world, and the Parshendi likely aren't sending peace treaties to everyone out there before attacking them. But, this event does make him wary. And he wonders if the Parshendi are being framed by someone who wants to make certain that Elithkar never knows peace. Rodion suggests that there could be one faction that's suing for peace, while another one that's just doing whatever it wants to destroy them. Dalinar says that he's going to plan for the worst. He will head to the center of the Shattered Plains one way or another, whether to accept a surrender or to defeat the Parshendi for good. It's going to take time to arrange this expedition, though. He needs to train his men, for this long expedition, and he also needs to choose new shard bearers. He tells them that he's going to come into possession of more shards very soon. Aldar asks where he's going to get all these shards, and Dalinar tells them that Adolin's going to win them from all of you. Some people chuckle, but Dalinar does not look like he said a joke. And he sits down, and the others takes it as the end of the meeting. Shallan notes that once again, it was Dalinar doing this, and not Elithkar that signaled the end of the meeting. So Samariel says that, tells Shallan that looks like, she will accompany him back to his camp. And he says that, that this meeting, it wasn't just a waste of time, but it also cost him money. But Shallan tells him that she'll catch up to his carriage. She has something she has to do. So she goes over to Elithkar to personally deliver the news of Yasna's death. He took it with a regal dignity. And then she sought out the king's scribes. A short time later, she found Vatha and Gaz and handed a paper to Vatha. She explains that it is a writ of pardon sealed by the king. It covers everyone right now, but they will soon receive specific ones, with each of their names on them. Vatha is surprised that she actually kept her word. Shallan tells him that this only covers past crimes, so you need to be on their best behavior. And now they need to head out, and she tells them that she has arranged a place for all of them to stay. And that's the end of the chapters this week.
I'm deeply curious how well these guys are going to do Pardon, because a lot of them, we know fucking nothing about them at all. Like, they could be some of the worst people who've ever lived for all we know. I mean, we know Gaz is passed alone, and it's already somewhat dark.
All right. Anything else in this chapter you do want to go over?
Not really. It's just that the everything's just going so fast. Like she gets there within the same 10 minutes, learns everything that's been going on in the shattered in the camp and stuff. Like the whole state of politics. Like this is kind of the first time it's been laid bare about who stands where and what people are trying to do, the moves people are trying to make and stuff. So we get to learn that with Shallan, which is interesting.
I really enjoyed how quick she was at deducing what was happening, reading people, remembering all those notes of Yasna's that she'd read, and then being able to, act accordingly on how to respond to certain people, like with Dalinar and with with the S guy's name that I've already forgotten.
Sabariel.
Sabariel, that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Without Yasna's notes, she would have been out of her depth here. But I like that with them and with her own perspective, watching what different people are doing, she was able to kind of, BS her way through this a bit.
Yeah, I liked finally getting to see a bit of her cleverness and smartness.
Not just in
skills.
puns and insults.
Yeah. Where you guys keep telling me how smart she is. I'd like to know or see it in action.
And I really liked all the, like you said, Joe, all of them getting to be characters, because they always talk about all these different High Lords and stuff, but since we never get to see them, they don't feel like they actually exist. I really like getting to get little glimpses of all of them. Makes me think like I should actually give a shit what happens in this war. So that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how Sabariel is a self-proclaimed I just like to make trouble kind of guy. I think that's hilarious. Like I just don't care. He secretly does, but that's not what he puts off.
Yeah. Again, with Shallan's like deduction or quick planning skills, like to quickly see like who she could like attach herself to.
Mm-hmm.
Like these people care, they have an agenda. This guy doesn't, so
Yeah,
might
knowing
have
that
a
she
bit of-
doesn't want to step in that political shit at all right now.
Yeah. Like my goal is to be able to do the stuff that I care about. So, what is my best chance at that?
Mm-hmm.
And then you had like Ruthar, where he just, like Yasna's note said, just seemed oily, where just like smiling at her predatorily, and the way he said the stuff made it seem like, hey, come to my camp and sleep with me. And the other high princes making fun of him is like, you wouldn't last. That's not what I meant.
Oh, yeah, that was funny.
You.
This chapter was called The Silent Storm. Why do you believe that was chosen for the chapter title?
Because a storm is happening right now and nobody can hear it, metaphorically.
Yep. The silent storm inside.
I don't know what that is. And I don't want to know.
It's Let It Go.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I've already said that's Kaladin's song
Oh,
about
God.
him.
No,
keeping his
no, no,
powers
no. Shut it
inside.
down. No, no. No.
That make Olaf his Elsa's honor spren?
Yeah. I like that.
No. I hate it. I hate it with such a passion.
Justin, open your heart up.
I would never open it up that wide.
All right. Well, let's just go over to theories and predictions then. So the questions: how's this causal betrothal going to go with Shallan and Adolin? Will it go through or not? Will they get married?
She's going to
all the way
like
to
Adolin.
married.
What's that?
All the way to married.
Well, that's what it's for.
I think there'll be a little bit of fun between that.
Mm-hmm. She's going to like him. They're going to go on their walk. She's going to realize how infuriating he is. She's going to power through, but she is going to fall in love with Kaladin by accident. Then Adolin's going to die tragically, and they'll both feel too sad to move forward in it because they both became so close
boo.
with him. But by the end of it, they'll wind up half tragically, kind of half hooking up. There's my answer, Sheta. Probably the exact thing you don't want, yes.
I hate that.
There's my prediction, Sheta.
I think they will like each other a lot. And I don't know. I think that their personalities would go together pretty good. Like, Adolin might seem kind of shallow, but he's actually pretty deep and stuff. So I think that it's going to be a little more complicated than that, where she would just easily not be into him once they start talking. Like, I think they might really like each other and have everything be just green and stuff for them for a long time, but then she will also develop feelings for Kaladin and have it get complicated like that. I hope the whole series, I don't know how many books there are going to be, but that it's going to be her having relationships with both of the guys until the end, in which I think Kaladin will kind of ascend too far, and then she will end up marrying Adolin. Or maybe Shallan will ascend too far and marry neither of them. So, depends what we learn about Shallan.
Or an unexpected fourth party gets involved and she marries them.
Who, if Zane is revealed, then maybe Zane.
Yep, maybe Zane. That does seem like Shallan's type. You do have to admit that.
Well, she also has a dark side, just like Vin,
Uh-huh.
Maybe that's where she's going to go.
And as we all saw, Zane was also Vin's type. That's why she chose him.
If Ellen wasn't there, maybe she could have saved him.
If Ellen wasn't there, Vin would be a much different person. I don't think she'd be able to save him. She would have been a lot more broken.
Yeah.
And he only thought that she could save him because that was the only one that Ruin was telling him not to kill. Okay, what about Dalinar's plan to head to the center of the Shattered Plains for either a surrender or a final battle? How's that gonna go?
I'm hoping it's going to lead to him charging the entire Alethi army into that war, into the center of their heart, obliterate all of the enemy who's now all become a bunch of horrible, fucked up things. And it's just a decisive, nightmarish victory that you almost feel guilty about because it was so bloody.
Jeez. Oh, I don't have an answer. I don't have a thought about it. Yeah.
All right, and then whatever other theories you two want to throw out there.
Well, I already said I think a desolation starts when they get those weird red powers, and there must be some way for them to know it's coming because the buff guy appeared before that happened. Or was it around the same time? No, it was before, right? Like did we see him chronologically in the book when he appeared, Joe?
Yeah, it would have happened before.
Okay, so that was chronologically. Yeah, but they must have some way of seeing it building, and it's an inevitable thing that builds. Maybe it's as the Parshmen or Pershendi like learn their own lost culture over again, and they unlock more of these powers. Maybe they can become too powerful, or something can infect them. So yeah, I already said that, and then I think I had another one, but I lost it. So Sheta, you go.
I guess we kind of touched upon it a little bit with that why creatives can't or don't exist in the listeners is because they are made by creatives, and so they can't create themselves. And so someone like Shallan is a creator. She's an artist, she's a creative, and so she's making these things happen. And something like she is something else, like almost like something more godly that has the power to create, instead of so like the opposite of so she's the opposite of the Parshendi people, and maybe when she enters the Shattered Plains she will save them or something from themselves.
I'm going to be honest, I did not fully follow that, Sheta. I feel like there's a piece you didn't tell us that's very important to what it is you're saying.
Shallan is a new god, is basically what I'm saying. And what she's learning to do is what created the Parshendi people originally, is what I'm trying to say.
Why?
Yeah. Why what?
Why is that a theory?
Because they cannot create.
Well, yeah, but why Shallan? That's what I mean.
Because she has she's discovering those powers, and she has a mysterious past where we don't know how she was made or how she became like that, but she can summon a shard blade. She has a very light power to influence how people see her and perceive themselves, and empower themselves with.
So you're saying you think that that's an actual power and not just an ability, a talent she has?
Yeah, basically.
So do you think Kaladin's one of those too, then?
No, because he's not a creative. He's
No, I mean he's like a returned god thing. That's why he has powers.
I think what he is different than Shallan. I'm not sure how, but there seems to be a lot of different versions of how you can use the powers, because I don't think Zeph is like Kaladin, I don't know. I don't know enough, but but they seem different enough.
Yasna talked earlier how with the Radiance there were 10 different orders, each with 2 powers.
There you go then.
And that she even told Shallan that from her powers she would have been part of the Order of Lightweavers. Kaladin earlier, he said that, and Scylla said that he's a Windrunner. And from like some of these words of Radiance, we've gotten names of, Stone Wards, Dustbringers.
There you go. Nice and easy peasy.
I'm starting to warm up to what you said a long time ago, Sheta, that Kaladin, Shallan, all these people gaining these powers, that they are the people who like gave it up long ago or some shit like that. I just hope that's not true. I don't want them to be like immortal, like reborn people from those who gave up long ago. And like
Aha.
it would turn out that like Kaladin and Shallan, they were lovers in the previous life or some dumb shit. I
Oh
don't want
my.
any of that. I don't want any of that. That's kind of what I expect to happen. If any of that happens, if even a whiff of that happens, I'm going to be disappointed because I always prefer stories about regular people over like, you know, whatever the
Reborns?
hell you'd call that genre.
Well, even if they were reborn like that, I would say that they don't come back the same,
Yeah, well, I like the idea that just random people are getting these powers. That's what I'm saying, and are
Mm.
tied to these ancient orders. If they're the 12 or 10 or whatever who betrayed long ago, I'm going to be very disappointed. However, that has to be a big part of the book because they have to be out there, you know.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe that old man who made shoes was one too. And that's why I forget his name. Zahel had to hunt him down, but he needed an excuse to kill him to send him back to the hell dimension they're all supposed to be in. There's my off the cuff nonsense theory.
Also, remember, there were two different things. You had the 10 heralds, and 9 of them, pretty much quit and left Taln alone to go back to damnation for 4,500 years. And then there was the Knights Radiance, which were groups of the orders. And the Knights Radiance are the ones who are always said to have betrayed mankind. Because, like, we did see that one Dalinar vision where he saw, I think they said it was some Windrunners and Stone Wards where they showed up, they just took off their armor and, dropped their shard blades and stuff and left. And that was when that's called the Recreants, and that's when the Radiance betrayed mankind.
I need to take better notes. I'm not keeping up with anything.
Yeah, heralds are 10 specific people. Knights Radiance were like orders of lots of people.
Yeah, you know
who
that.
all had powers.
Okay. Gotcha.
I also think my other theory of the day is that the armor was specifically made to fight Voidbringers because she's like it's weird that doing this thing doesn't work while out in a storm. Like letting it change you doesn't work while you're in the storm. So I think it's either built to fight Voidbringers and so that they can't affect you in whatever kind of weird way they do it in, or whatever in the storm has like either influenced or possessed her. It's specifically to avoid that. So I think it's going to be a very, very important part of this. And I think Dalinar is going to win a lot through Adolin. And then whatever's happening triggers and people start getting all fucked up and stuff, he's going to have a huge advantage in how to deal with it because he's going to have so many to give to like other important characters like the rest of the bridge crew and stuff like that. Or when Eshonai tried to use it. That's what all this I'm saying is.
All right, then. I guess we'll just move over to the character of the week.
I have to go with Shallan because I really liked how she was able to deduce what the court was thinking. I liked reading from her perspective as she started putting things together, realized what she didn't know. I liked her gambit to get in the one guy's camp. I thought that was funny and clever. I liked her fighting with Kaladin. I liked her not willing to let him just decide whether she was going to see somebody or not because that would not be good for her. And I liked her actually going through and getting those pardons and even waiting specifically to get them just to make sure that all went through. She didn't just forget about anything.
Yeah, she really is a new woman.
And when she insulted Kaladin's parents and he got specifically very defensive on that, instead of feeling like, oh no, I've touched a nerve, she thought, good, I touched a nerve. And then kept going.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, you know what we're in.
Spot?
Don't be a little bitch. We're in a fucking meanness match here.
Yeah.
And Kaladin almost starts crying.
Yeah, kitchen too hot for you?
Yeah, exactly. She was very mean.
Yeah.
That was the exact feeling. That laugh right there. Yeah. You related to her too much there, I think.
I did. It'll start where you can't finish.
Yep.
Oh, man. You made me want to pick Shallan too. Dang. I guess, yeah, I have to pick her too. She did a lot of stuff and she did a lot of growing in these chapters. Like, this is what she's been like kind of working up towards and stuff, and like a lot of times like you kind of fumble at the last second, but she didn't really miss a beat with that, and that's impressive.
And when she did miss a beat, she covered it immediately. When she said "you have nice hair," and then was like, "Oh fuck,"
She's
she
just a
spun
young
it to.
girl.
Well, she spun it to. They don't have hair like that out where I'm from, so it didn't sound like a weird thing. It
Yes,
sounded
nice
just like
save.
exactly. I was very impressed with that save because that was like, oof, it's over.
No way. She came off very charming and
Mhm.
you know, for being so like taken aback by how hot Adolin is. She did a good
Mhm.
job.
Brandon Sanderson writes thirsty girls very interesting because it was the same in Warbreaker,
Warbreaker.
where you've got this girl who's like basically like, I won't use foul language here for the guy that she's looking at, and he writes it in the way so I can tell, I can feel exactly what she's feeling without him using any kind of dirty language whatsoever, you know. He does the same thing with men finding women attractive, you know, but he does it weirdly, I think, very well with women finding men attractive specifically. So I wonder what the story is there. Or I'm like, oh, she is thirsty. Jesus Christ, you know? That's a talent that I actually, and I'm picking out because I don't see a lot of writers do that really. Whenever they have a girl be really attracted to a guy, they're just like, oh, he's so handsome. Like Shallan is not thinking just about how handsome this guy is right now. There are parts of her body feeling things at this moment, and a lot of writers have trouble with that. I don't know why Goody Two Shoes Brandon Sanderson is so good at it though.
He might have good people he's interviewing to see like how would you be like if you saw the body
No,
I ever.
no, I don't. That's fucking weird. No.
No way.
Just don't forget, Elantris ended with the Sereni joke of "We're gonna fuck."
That's a little different though. That wasn't maybe if it was built up across the whole time.
All right, for my favorite character, maybe I should have gone with Shallan, but I'm going with Sabariel. He was just
Yeah.
hilarious.
I was close to going with Sabariel, so I understand.
We had read so many chapters. He was only in one of them, but just the way he's just there, just joking and like, I don't want to be here. Let's just be as rude as possible to everyone.
I thought he was so annoying. I can't believe you two liked him so much.
How could you think he was annoying? He was so honest.
I guess I don't like characters like that.
He was such an asshole, but he wasn't like
Exactly.
he wasn't a jerk. He was just like, this is stupid. He's correct about that, you know. This is a farce and a joke, you know, this whole thing. So I really enjoyed that kind of blunt honesty. And I liked seeing that there's a guy who doesn't take all this stuff so seriously, too.
All right, now let's go over to quotes.
My quote is very short and very simple, but it is my ideology on everything in the whole world.
Wow.
It is Navani saying, where are you? It's when she's talking about how clean war camps are and stuff like that. And she says, this is the mark of humankind, to take the world, unorganized world, and make something logical of it. I've always thought that's what humans do. We take the chaos of this world, we define it, we decide or we figure out what it is, and then we make it ours. We make it work for us. So I thought it was really fun to have a character just represent my entire thought process on our species like that. That is
Yeah, that's
something no
good.
other animal can do. We tame the world by defining it, and then we force it to be what we want it to be. Because the world's a disorganized mess, but it's only disorganized because it doesn't work for humans. But we just change it to work for humans instead, and I love that. I think it's quite badass, and it's why we're the masters of the whole world and someday the universe.
Well, mine's stupid. But this may be the falling of humankind, though, Justin.
The exact opposite.
Yeah. Who is that? Gorgeous red hair. There wasn't a single lock of black in it. A slender build, so different from the curvaceous Alethi. A silken blue dress, simple yet elegant. Pale skin, it almost had a Shin look to it, matched by light blue eyes. A slight dusting of freckles under her eyes, giving her an exotic cast. The young woman seemed to glide through the room. Adolin twisted about, watching her pass. She was so different. Yeah, so that'll be the fall of humanity then. We just see one hot alien and that's it. We're done. I just liked it. I thought it was fun. I was so happy to see Adolin just like completely be attracted to Shallan. Like I was wondering how he would find her since he like loves women so much, or he has such a refined taste, I guess. So, and we don't really know how Shallan looks compared to that. So I'm just glad that he liked her right away.
Yeah, I always imagined Shallan looking a little more plain because we've
Yeah.
only seen her through her own descriptions, but seeing her described by people here, I'm like, oh no, she's hot. Okay. I'll have to redefine that in my head.
Yeah, I don't blame Adolin.
Is Shallan your waifu of the book, Joe?
This one, I guess, yes. Overall, maybe Serene more. All right, then my section. Humming to the rhythm of awe spread through those who watched. As they were listeners, they could feel the rhythm, hear it. All were in tune, all were in rhythm with one another. Perfection. Eshonai held out her arms to the sides and spoke in a loud voice. Cast aside despair and sang to the rhythm of joy. I have looked into the depths of the Stormrider's eyes, and I have seen his betrayal. I know his mind, and have seen his intent to help the humans against us. But my sister has discovered salvation. With this form, we can stand on our own, independent, and we can sweep our enemies from this land like leaves before the tempest. The humming to awe grew louder, and some began to sing. Eshonai gloried in it. She pointedly ignored the voice deep within her that was screaming in horror. To me, that whole section is just kind of haunting because we've seen Eshonai through 3 chapters before this, and this is just completely different and just showing how much this Stormform has changed her, and is just that right there has just completely changed the outlook of the rest of the book. Because before it's like, oh, both she and Dalinar, they want to try to sue for peace and stuff. Maybe this could happen. Then because of this Stormform going, and like other stuff where she's saying like she's looked into the Stormrider's eyes and seen his betrayal. No, he intends to help humans. We didn't see any of that from when she saw him. He's just like, well, I guess this must be. I'm sorry. I wish I could help you. Yeah. All right.
I like seeing her go from a pretty grounded, just like, pretty pragmatic, pretty dull kind of person to like speaking of the glory of their future, like genocide against humanity that they shall bring, like she's a prophet come, I think that's really fun.
I just had a thought of that sounding a little like the thrill and stuff, and being like, I wonder if, because a thrill is something they all experience a very specific way they get when they are fighting and stuff. So I wonder if they tap into something when they do that, and that maybe this is connected to that,
Well, I like that because you could say, I don't know if you're saying that the thrill may be supernatural in nature, but
Yeah.
even without it being supernatural, if it's just the thrill is just the lust and glory of killing, and surviving, as Sadius puts it, you kill those inferior to you and you fight and prove you're superior. Like it's a instinctual, strong feeling that is different from just being a warrior. So if this form is literally just the glory of killing, given
Mm-hmm.
manifest, and that's because the Parshendi, they don't seem, from what we've seen, they don't seem to enjoy killing in the same way the Alethi do, right?
Yep.
So, but if this is the form that does enjoy killing, that could be very scary. And killing your enemies in a genocidal way specifically, that could be very fun.
Fun. Yep.
Very fun. Fun for them.
Fun for Eshonai only. Some of them
It
might be
sounds
like
like
horrified.
It sounds like a lot of them are going to get these powers, though.
Oh, why do you say that?
Because she said she has like this new way they can be to defeat and destroy their enemies. To me, that was her implying that this is a new form she's found, and a lot of them are going to take it and rush into battle. And that's what's going to make it. Like I said, the Voidbringers aren't the Parshendi. It's the Parshendi in this form. That's what I was thinking for my theory.
Yeah, and Eshonai did tell Venli that if they have enough of them with this form, then they could call forth this like high storm of anger and use it against the humans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll just go through a couple comments. I won't go through all of them because we've gone a little bit long. I'll go through some of these shorter ones. So first comment from Way of Kings, Interlude 4 through Chapter 31 from RPG Chick. I was at work reading during a quiet moment when Jasnah casually mentioned the Cosmere, though in the text it was lowercase, which surprised me, but maybe Sanderson wanted to keep it on the down low at first. I shouted, "What?" from my little cubicle, and everyone started staring. It seems Jasnah is the only one in this story so far who knows things. Kaladin, clueless beyond the medical field and fighting. Shallan, kind of sheltered and quiet, trying to steal something that she doesn't know how to operate. Dalinar can't even remember his own wife, and Adolin only cares about war and women. But Jasnah is very smart and learned, can use a soulcaster, and is trying to figure things out that society has largely forgotten. I think that's why there are no Jasnah POV chapters. Yet, she would spill all the beans to the readers.
Oh no. They'll come. We'll get some. I think that's true, though. It's so fucking weird that Jasnah seems to know so much and just casually drops it like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to her, it's not a big deal. But to me, the reader, I'm like, wait. Can you go further into that?
And they go on. Someone mentioned a Cosmere stand-up. I would love to see that. An atheist, a theologist, and a god walk into a bar. So what do you be having, Sazed? Maybe don't use that one.
Oh, God. That was fucking solid, I'm going to be honest. I that caught me off guard.
I'm amazed by Justin Sheta's prediction of the next few Kaladin chapters. That was nearly 100% correct, other than the reason he faces the storm. Details though.
Yeah, we don't need those.
All right. And then from Words of Radiance, chapters 24 to 28, from Koval Petro 28. Hey, thanks for answering my question of the day. I did think that Bible and whatever they made you read in school should not count, but I was too lazy to write stipulations for our YouTube comment. But we did give other answers besides the Bible, so
yeah, that was a little cheat.
Yeah, that was your cheat to win, Sheta.
Yeah, I just wanted to win.
Besides that, you had Frankenstein.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed this episode today. Sheta getting use of light weaving and spycraft completely correct. Justin being paranoid about Tin is fun, and I'm sure he will be super vindicated very soon. And he will get some justice for Jasnah.
I don't know. I feel sad every time you bring it up.
And then from Etchine, then one from Etchine. The Renarin hate is so ridiculous. We have heard about his blood weakness and how he wasn't physically able to train the past by this point in the story. He has been long neglected and is still just trying to help. This slander will not stand.
We'll see. I still don't trust the guy. Man, any Renarin fan has to fucking hate us by this point. We have accused him of everything.
Yeah.
With almost no evidence.
He's shady. He did this. He's the betrayer. He's trying to kill his cousin.
I still stand by my words on him until I'm proven otherwise. Blood sickness or no blood sickness, I think I just don't buy it.
That's a lie, like a lie story as old as time. Like, oh, he's ill. Like,
well, I think he was actually does have. Well, I don't know.
What?
I think he
what
actually
kind of
does have some things, but I don't know the details. It doesn't seem like it just magically is gone, right? So I still have a lot of the same feelings about Renarin. I'm sorry.
Is the illness being like possessed by the evil lord? Like,
I'm not going that far. Jeez, what the fuck? You're getting into paranoid territory.
They said that he has a blood sickness and he has fits.
Yeah.
Okay, so
fits.
I don't see why that means that he can't do what he's doing now.
That sounds like magical possession. That's what that sounds like. Like getting possessed by the Dark Lord.
Like I said, Sheta, I'm not going as far as you are with that. That's further than I'm willing to.
I can't wait. If he has mysterious past. I want to know.
Yeah, all the Renarin stuff. I'm just like trying to keep quiet on all of it because
You have to. It's all too plot
yep,
important.
I just the only
Or
thing I will say is like with you saying like he, because with him wanting to be like wanting to fight along with them and everything, it's you just kind of look at him and the family and everything. You have his father, his uncle, both like great warriors. His brother, great warrior. His cousin, you have Yasna's one of them. The other cousin's the king. It just feels like he has so much to have to live up to.
Yeah, well, maybe he should try doing it. There's my response to that.
He
If
is.
you can't fight, because you got a blood sickness, don't even pretend to try. Find another way to be useful. That's what I say.
yeah, you gotta
That's
change. You gotta adjust. You know.
You gotta, man. You gotta. For a guy like, I'm 50-50 on my distrust of Renarin. I'm not 100% on that. But I think he's not a little kid. It's not like he's 5 years old figuring out what he wants to be when he grows up. In this world, he's basically a man, and he's still got these delusions that he's ever going to be like his brother or his father. If he wants to be useful, there are other paths. There are so many other paths, and he's choosing not to take them. And again, like I said before, this is the Alethi culture. What you dedicate your life to, according to the early chapters, is like one of the most important things that anyone picks. It's like you should model your whole life around what you're going to dedicate it to. And he's dedicated it to half pretending that he can even ride a horse into battle. Like, come on. He should have figured something out by now. And I have just gone on another anti-Renarin rant after a guy tried to call me out on it, I realized. So I will stop. But I feel that there's
Yeah,
other ways to help Renarin. Lots of other ways, infinite other ways.
Right. And then from Old Chad, Tin is Yasna in disguise. Sheta, is every new character from now on gonna be Yasna? Is Yasna just Hoyd in this drag?
Let's hope so.
oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
I think the real Yasna is the friends we made along the way, guys.
Oh, shut up. Oh.
Also, Joe, I don't like it either, but we should give some respect to the shipping community by using the proper terms. Shadolin, Shallan, and Kadolin.
Oh God, no! Those
Uh,
all flow so well.
Yeah, but I hate them because they're so similar. Shadolin and Shallan, those are too close. It's not like a Jader
Shallan.
and Caters. Shallan is Shallan Kaladin. Shadolin, Shallan Adolin. Kadolin, Kaladin Adolin.
Whoa. That's gonna be too much. We gotta come up with a better one.
You got to
Well-
find a way to merge all three, Sheta, since that's what you're shipping.
Ooh, yeah.
Kaladin,
Shalada.
one's got Adolin in there,
Shalada.
There might be a way for all three, but I
Shalada.
think there might be one.
That's the one I'm
and then
thinking.
they add, and Sheeta's brand new, Sadolin.
Yeah. Sadolin.
Oh God, no.
See, but yeah, that's my problem with these. It's not that I don't want to use them because I'm against names like that for shipping. My problem is they're just too close to each other when you say them.
They're not good ones.
Well, there's really not much else you could do. It works with like the spelling of them, but once you're actually saying Shadolin and Shalladin, it's so similar.
I think Brandon did this on purpose to stop the shipping names.
Yep, he thought ahead.
Like, stop.
It was that planned that well.
Yeah. I ruined your plans.
Raodin Serini, Rayorini.
Rayorini. Now I'm hungry for some pasta.
Or you could have Vin and Ellen could be either Veland, or you could just do Ein, E-I-N. Might get it confused with a DOA character, but yeah. All right, so yeah, there were some other comments, but I'll save them for next time. Speaking of next time, let's look at our chapters next week. We have 5 chapters we're reading for next week. Chapters 39 through 43.
Okie dokie.
Yep, so that's what we're doing for next week. 5 chapters, 39 through 43. So everyone, go read those chapters. And then afterwards, find somebody on the street and do like a thumb war with them. You remember how to do those. Do that.
Completely agree.
But you don't cheat. You cannot bend your thumb. Your thumb needs to be straight when you do it. If you bend your thumb, then you are a sleazy cheater and deserve to be strung up in front of a high storm.
Who hurt you in the 3rd grade like that? That's cheating. You can't bend your thumb like that.
3rd grade? No, this is like 3 years ago. Yep. So that's everything. Yep. Everyone, we'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
All right.
Zip, 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 zip.
Bye.